a world unfair. We're the one with fighting charm, heart and brain, lethal arm. Stand unshaken, minds collide, laughing with the storm inside. We're the one with fighting charm, heart and brain, a lethal arm. Stand unshaken, minds collide, laughing with the storm inside. Faces enemies with a yes, every laugh a cunning test, carving paths through blackened skies, inside clear and bloodshot eyes. In the maze of thoughts ensnare, every joke a blade prepared, cuts through lies with humor's flair, unseen wisdom few can bear.
Okay, sure.
I was
concerned. I know. This is Jimmy. So you said, Mr. Grant's dating price, payment order for the first time on Thursday. Correct. After what you saw on TV occurred in this case. Right.
What my concern is, if more was taken out, okay, but there's some things that I definitely don't want the jury to hear. On the 3-minute call, between 1 minute and 55 seconds and 2 minutes and 22 seconds, there's discussion about what Relly thinks Rocky was on Rocky's rap sheet, and then he assumed that Rocky has a rap sheet. And also that Rocky buys people off. I don't want the jury hearing anyway.
I did take that out.
Good.
Do you know, when you say the 3 minutes, do you know what the number was?
1 minute and 55 seconds to 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Then, that's all my concern on that one. Then there's the one, I think it's the longest one. It's 7094. It's between 5 minutes and 25 seconds and 6 minutes. Relly's talking about the potential sentence. I don't want the jury hearing that. And then beginning at 8 minutes and 15 seconds. Sorry, beginning 8 minutes and 15 seconds. There's discussion about the white people. White people will see what Rocky knows and doesn't know, what Rocky knows and doesn't know, and then there's also his feelings about Rocky. I especially don't want to hit the jury to hear about about the white people. Race have no role in this whatsoever. The rest of that tape is pretty innocuous.
Hold on, Your Honor. He's checking to see.
Verify all the values. We can't unknown this now. What's happening?
Yeah, I want to know that that's
So
taken out.
I can confirm the white people comment was taken out.
Good. What about the potential sentence?
Do you have an example?
5 minutes and 25 seconds to 6 minutes.
I think what he's asking, Your Honor, is because times are changed because he's had a headache. What he's asking for, he knows.
Oh, it changed.
It was like 19 years, something like that.
I think this is something about, the minimum of this and a maximum of 25 years.
Okay, yeah.
He also mentions that attempted murder, and, it's not attempted murder.
You're saying looking at anywhere from 14 to like 20 something years?
Yes.
Okay. You got it.
Is there a mention of attempted murder?
I might have let it in.
It's not attempted murder. If you can't find it,
I took out the years ago. Do you want me to sit with them and show them
That would be comforting.
Okay, that's really all I was concerned
just on those two transcripts?
about. He talks about, on the third transcript, he talks about his feelings about Jabari, he talks about his calls, his texts that were exchanged prior to the incident. I think it's pretty innocuous.
I'm definitely not trying to ring the bells, I can't be wrong. If they want to sit down, I can show them exactly what I redacted.
All right, go ahead.
And Your Honor, I don't think this was put on the record, I think I said it at court, but it has been discussed in the media, not by Mr. Dacquina, but simply by commentators who have said that this defendant is convicted, he's looking at getting 24 years. That's absurd. The people have always said that we would not be seeking, and we have no ground for seeking the maximum sentence in this case. What we have said is we talked about a sentence or we're willing to give probation, and this has been time. If he's convicted, we're going to ask for it.
Do you want me to sit with them and show them
That would be comforting.
Okay, that's really all I was concerned
just on those two transcripts?
about. He talks about, on the third transcript, he talks about his feelings about Jabari, he talks about his calls, his texts that were exchanged prior to the incident. I think it's pretty innocuous.
I'm definitely not trying to ring the bells, I can't be wrong. If they want to sit down, I can show them exactly what I redacted.
All right, go ahead.
And Your Honor, I don't think this was put on the record, I think I said it at court, but it has been discussed in the media, not by Mr. Dacquina, but simply by commentators who have said that this defendant is convicted, he's looking at getting 24 years. That's absurd. The people have always said that we would not be seeking, and we have no ground for seeking the maximum sentence in this case. What we have said is we talked about a sentence or we're willing to give probation, and this has been time. If he's convicted, we're going to be asking for it. is probably going to be about 8 years in state prison. So you will not be looking at that as the court's aware. He would serve about 2/3 of that. I just want to make sure that we don't have this misinformation being spread. It's not
I just,
I think it's pretty innocuous.
I'm definitely not trying to ring bells that can't be unrung. I just, if they want to sit down, I can show them exactly what I redacted.
All right, go ahead.
Just gonna take a second.
And Your Honor, I don't think this was put on the record. I think I said it in court, but it has been discussed in the media, not by Mr. Decker, I'm not Mr. Decker, but simply by commentators who have said that this defendant is convicted, he's looking at getting 24 years. That's absurd. The people have always said that we would not be seeking, and we would have no grounds for seeking the maximum sentence in this case. What we have said is we talked about a sentence or we're willing to give probation and this defendant time. If he's convicted, what we're going to be asking for is probably going to be about 8 years in state prison. So you will not be looking at that as the court's aware. He would serve about 2/3 of that. I just want to make sure that we don't have this misinformation being spread, because it's not happening.
Now, can you tell the jury as usual,
Yes, sir.
taking care of logistic?
Yes, sir.
Logistic issues? So we're gonna take a witness out of court.
Yes, it is.
Oh, 80, oh, okay.
Let me just finish it. How's that?
Are there more problems? What's that, yes, David? Yes. All right, why don't the two of you discuss it? If you can come to an agreement, then I don't even get involved. Let me ask you, I hate to have the jurors wait outside. Can you give me an idea how much longer you might be before?
So I just highlighted all the changes I made in this one. I can bring it up before it wants to. Eleanor, you take one that I highlighted. Oh, I have it.
Why don't you come on up and show me what's been taken out and what is still objected?
Wes, do you have the highlight? Or do you have it?
Yeah, up here is. All right, defense, call your please.
Okay. Nora, Mr. Mayor calls Wally subjecting. Subjecting. Go ahead,
Just raise your right hand for us. Thank you. Okay. Please have me state that the testimony may give in the cause not pending for this court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God. Okay. Please take a seat of the witness stand. Make it to you, any government. Please state and spell your name for the record.
Wally Sajani, WALLY,
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Good afternoon, Mr. Day. What do you, so what do you do for a living?
I run a technology software agency where we build website software for clients, musicians, creatives, brands, direct-to-consumer brands. Yeah.
And have you done work in that capacity for Rocky?
Yes.
Okay. Have you also, and by the way, do you work for Rocky?
No, I have my own business.
Okay. So you do consulting work?
Yes, consulting.
Did an individual that you know as Relly also ask you to do work for him?
Yes.
And same capacity as a consultant?
Correct.
All right. Now, do you have any, just let's get this out of the way. Do you have any personal knowledge of the facts of this case, one way or another?
No.
Okay. After Rocky's arrest in this case, and then better say your friend Rocky, right?
Yes.
After Rocky's arrest in this case, did Relly ask you to do anything for him?
Yes, he did.
What did he ask you to do?
A number of things, but he really wanted to boost his social media presence with certain articles from his kids.
Okay. In particular, do you remember any?
It was a long list, but they were high publications.
TMZ.
Rolling Stone, Body, Complex, so on and so on.
So, Mr. Efron contacted you and asked you to promote these articles for his social media presence.
Yes, for his further to boost his social media as well. Yeah.
And that was articles about this case.
Correct.
Okay. When did just refer to Relly for the purpose of this conversation? When did Relly? That's how you know him, by the way, right?
Right.
When did Relly last call you?
Just last week on my birthday when I was in Paris, Thursday.
Thursday, the January 30th.
Yeah, around 9 p.m. in Paris. So if I do the math, it's probably 12 noon here.
Yeah. And have you been following this case?
Yeah, I've been watching.
Okay. And on that day, on that Thursday, Did you see anything particular about this case on Thursday when you watched?
Yeah, just my name being brought up against lies, fabrication, just not the truth. So,
What in particular did you hear, and who did you hear from?
Relly specifically,
What did he say?
recordings were fake. Recordings were not him, not I. I'm a pretty private person, so when people lie on my name, it kind of gets me upset. So yeah,
Okay. Now, did Relly send you any articles about this case in the last 6 months?
yes,
And on October 17th of 2024, did you send you an article about Judge Arnold?
yes,
On December 24th, 2024, did you send you a Daily Mail article entitled "The Anna Fears Heartbreaking Consequences of ASAP Rocky's Trial with a Smile Face"?
That's relevant to these questions about specific.
Yes, that. December 27, 2024, did Relly send you an article from the Daily Mail entitled "The Anna Fears Heartbreaking Consequences of ASAP Rocky's Trial" with a smiley face next to it?
yes.
To be here today, so where did you come from?
Paris, France.
Okay. And what were you doing in Paris, France?
Grabbing meetings, doing business deals, trying to invest in this new tech startup.
Okay. So you're there for work?
Yes,
You don't live there?
no,
Okay. You live where?
New Jersey.
When did you get here in Los Angeles, sir?
Last night late.
Okay. And why did you come here?
Really clear my name, tell the truth. Again, I just hated seeing my name tied to lies and untruthful words.
And did it concern you as far as your professional reputation that this guy was accusing you of doctoring and making up recordings?
Yes,
Would you ever do that?
no, never. I'm not there yet with like technology, I would say. So yeah.
But even if you were there, would you
Yeah,
do that?
no, never. It's not honest, right? Yeah.
Did you make recordings of conversations with Relly?
Yes.
How many recordings did you make?
Two. About in 2022, I believe the dates were, I forget the April date, but mid-April and then August 15th-ish. Yeah.
And you said you made it like based on your recollection, right?
Yeah.
I think the minute that actually say May, but around April, May
Yeah,
of 2022?
Yep.
Okay. And then August of 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And those were the two conversations you recorded?
Yes.
Okay. Did you give those recordings to Rocky?
Yes.
Okay. And first of all, why did you give them to Rocky?
I think it was just conversations he needed to hear.
And why do you think you need to hear them?
Because they're about him, and a lot of it seemed just suspicious, talking about monetary things.
And when did you send them to Rocky?
As soon as I finished the conversation.
Now, when you sent those recordings, did one of the two recordings, did you have to split one of them into two files because of the size?
Yeah, you can't really send certain data, or if the file size is too big, you gotta cut it down to send it. So,
So how did you get here today?
I took a plane, commercial plane.
Last night
Yes,
from Paris?
yes,
And are you going back later today?
yeah, a few hours.
So it's a 1 day turnaround?
Yeah,
Just to be here?
yeah.
Okay. Who paid for the cost of your ticket?
Damien, Branderson,
And that's Rocky's entertainment.
entertainment lawyer, yeah,
And that means Rocky probably paid for the cost of the ticket, correct?
possibly.
And did you meet us, myself, Mr. Siegel, Scott, and any people in the investigating zone, us for the first time ever this morning?
Prior to this, no.
No, what
This morning, yes.
This
This
morning
morning, yes,
was the first time you ever met any of us.
correct.
Okay. Did we ever speak before this morning?
No,
Okay. This morning, did we play recordings?
correct, yes.
And what were those recordings?
There were the recordings that I took.
And by the way, let's step back for a second. You mentioned Daniel Grant's and Rocky's entertainment attorney. What was the first time you ever heard from him?
Just recently while I was watching the tapes.
Was it when this individual Relly was testifying about the document tapes?
Correct, he wasn't the only one contacting me about just a lot of
Sorry,
but
but
yeah.
responsive to
Sustain.
that.
Was when he called you? Run. Sure.
You want some water? Yeah. Oh, you have one?
Sorry.
You have enough in there? You're okay? Sure.
I think it's deep, but it's not true. Air bits.
The air vents, I think, is wrong with the allergies. Let's hold here for a second.
Yeah.
So here's the path actually.
You want is it okay? Do you want to go in the back and get rid of the cough?
No, we got.
Oh, we got cough drops too.
Would you like a cough drop from both the prosecution and the defense?
Ours are better.
I have a pop up. Thank you so much. Appreciate that water as well. I have a lot of medication as well.
No, you have nothing to be sorry about.
Nice. For a second, please.
What's that? Of course.
That way you just like,
Oh, you want to step out?
yes, please.
Alex? Oh, Alex, okay. Go to the door there, Alex. We'll be out.
So you said, Mr. Grant's Damien practiced a payment order for the first time on Thursday,
Correct,
after what you saw on TV occurred in this case, right?
correct. The past few days,
You were accused of making a false statement.
correct.
Before that, have you heard of anyone from Rocky's defense team?
No,
And no one ever told you to be intended on quote, correct?
no,
But then you saw on television, you were accused of doctoring up tapes, correct?
correct. I didn't know that.
I'm not having you on any legal question, I'm just asking.
Yes, right, leader, say.
A little less, I'll try not to.
So, the recordings, I think I asked this, I'm not sure before we broke, did we play for you the recordings this morning?
You were correct.
Yes, okay. And what were those two recordings?
Conversations with Relly and I.
The May 2022,
Yes,
August 2022? And by the way, where were you when you made those recordings?
In New Jersey, my apartment,
Okay, and did Relly say where he was?
in New York.
And I'm gonna show you the three recordings, to show you the screen three. By the way, when I said I'm gonna show you the three recordings, did you videotape the recordings?
Yes,
Okay, so you audio recorded the recordings, but you videotaped.
yeah, I believe video is just better to capitalize on, or just capture everything. Your video with audio, it's hard to falsify this.
So, we'll show you, we'll show you.
Just the next exhibit.
Yes, Ron.
Q's and Queen. Is there a transcript?
Three recordings, but usually two incidents, but you mentioned three, but one of them is a combination,
Just split.
a split. I just want to make it so it's clear, we're only talking about
Two
two recordings.
recordings, May and August.
Yes.
Is there a transcript of the first?
Yes, Ron, I'm just identifying for it, I'm not playing, just want to make sure we identify. So take a look at that one. Do you recognize that?
Yes,
And what do you recognize that to be?
it's my recording of my conversation with Relly and I.
The first one from May 2022?
Correct.
Okay. That is, we have marked as exhibit
Q.
Q. All right. I'm gonna show you, another one, another video screenshot.
Yes, same exact thing. Conversation with him and I.
And that is that the one from August.
Correct.
And by the way, what makes you know that that's the one that you had with brother from looking at it?
I would save people's numbers, usually put your entire government name and your name as well, so I can remember.
That's what you have on that screen there?
Correct.
That would be, what is that? Bar, okay. That's the next bar.
All right, if you're marking that now, are you gonna play Q?
Three snippets of it.
All right, the part that you're gonna play of Q, the transcript of that should be R.
Okay,
The August call
there's,
should be S and Sam.
okay, first August call, because again, there's one August call that was sent to Rocky in two files. So first one will be S and Sam, the one you just identified. And the transcript portion of that would be,
T is the Tom.
okay. And then the third one, which is again the same call from August 2022, is that the screenshot of that, sir?
Yes,
And again, same thing,
correct, same thing. I videoed it between Relly and I,
whose name is on the screenshot?
Toronto.
And that's that's the same call as the call before, it's part of the August 2022 call, but that's the second
Correct.
file.
Yeah,
The
same
same
file.
So that would be
That's you.
you, are. And the transcript
All right,
portion,
you, that's the August 22nd call?
the second portion.
Second half. That's you as a union. The transcript, V's and Victor's.
Okay. Now, you recognize where it's on the screen. I'm gonna play, snippet, before I play the snippet from the jury line, I want him, Mr. Spinning, to identify voices, okay?
Sure.
That's the right thing. So listen to the recordings of the voices and tell us if you recognize voices. First, second, third.
Yes, myself and Relly.
That's the first one. This is the second one, go ahead.
Yes, that's the second one, same thing. Yes, same thing. Identifying myself and Relly on the conversation.
Okay. You play all three? So you identify all three of those tapes that we've identified as
It is the tapes Q, S, and U.
defense Q, S, and U. You've identified all three as recorded conversations that you made from May of 2022 and August of 2022 of you and for us.
Yes.
Okay. And you said you watched this proceeding of those ones you said were fake.
Yes.
Were they fake?
No, they're real.
Not real in any way?
No.
Are those recordings a true and accurate recording of your conversation with Relly those 2 days?
Yes.
Okay. Did anyone ask you to make these recordings, by the way?
No, I did it myself.
Why did you do it?
We to protect myself and just document our conversations because he kept calling me numerous times, so it kind of felt unsafe, or I just wanted to protect myself.
And when he kept calling you numerous times, why did you feel the need to record these conversations? Was he giving you an impression?
No, it was just weird, to be honest. I just felt uncomfortable.
Because you were not involved in this incident directly?
No, I was not involved at all. I just wanted to really just mediate the situation, honestly.
Because you were friends both?
Correct.
And you take a side, did you? No.
It's leading, it is just a.
Were you friends with both of them?
Yes.
Did you take a side?
No.
All right, now I'm gonna play you a few snippets here from the recordings. And again, these are questions I asked.
Which, are you gonna play Q, S, or U first?
Yes. I'm gonna play Q, S, or U first. I'm gonna play a snippet of S first, Your Honor. And these are short snippets, they're directly related to the question I asked Ms. Adline.
All right, let's, Alex, can you distribute the transcript, which is T is the.
Yes.
You have 2 yards by chance, so same.
I have it. Yeah, I have it. you have an extra for, Mrs. G? Sure, yes.
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna play a snippet from defense exhibit
This is that.
S. And again, by the way, before we play that, who called whom in these two calls?
He called me,
And
and then I would call him back.
when you record these calls, were you calling him back?
Correct.
Go ahead.
This is a later call, correct?
Yo, what's good again? Come on. Shit, man, where you at? Crib. Come on. Shit, man. I just hopped on the computer and shit. I was gonna submit them links and shit. You know which links you want to do, or you want me to just pick them shits? Yeah, shit, Jordan. You probably need the one from Rolling Stone, all those other publications. Just pick the top ones, probably, right? Like TMZ, Rolling Stone shit. Mm-hmm. And then when I get it, I know I'm good, right? Sorry. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna just try to get that shit through you for me. You got.
Okay. That was yourself and Mr. Efron?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's the one that was saying Rolling Stone?
Carlos.
And you respond saying, just pick the top one, something to that effect?
Yes.
And then after asking you to promote these articles on social media, regarding this case, did he say he was gonna throw you something?
Yes.
What is that?
When I get it, you know, I'm gonna tell you something.
When I get it, I'm gonna throw you something?
Yes.
Where'd you take that from me?
I'm not sure. Maybe whenever he gets some type of money.
I'm gonna call speculation, motion, so I can.
Speculation, sustain. Okay.
I guess we're gonna move on to the second, from which, where is it?
It's from SLC. Yes.
Exhibit S also.
This is really just related to.
So on the same exhibit, same transcript, is there a page which is directed on?
It's that.
Page 10? Page 10. You flip to page 10?
Is there any others?
Yes, you want, page 10 is 10. All right, listen to this, please, and go ahead.
Like, who gets cool after somebody fired on you 5 times, bro?
That, Mr. Efron saying, who gets schooled if someone fired on you 5 times?
Yes.
I think this is 2 give school.
Okay. You give school,
That's what the.
whatever that is. The part I was really focused on was the, someone fired on you 5 times, that you said that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to the next one, which is a different exhibit.
Exhibit Q.
Different exhibit.
It's a transcript part. And this is still August 27th.
No, this is, I think, May 27th.
You played August, that was August,
Right.
right? So now we're going to May.
Now we're on to this one.
This wants to be messed up, that's correct.
So what was already played was August 22nd. This is now May 22nd.
Correct.
And by meaning August 2022, rather than 22nd.
Yeah, August 2020.
2000. On May.
Okay.
Everybody have one?
Can I have one?
Do we have one, from Mrs. Stewart?
Okay. Page 16, please, the transcripts.
saying? You ask for background lawyer versus for extortion. You feel me? You're gonna do everything accordingly. Everything accordingly, or it's gonna catch up with you.
Whose voice was that, sir?
Relly.
You make up those words?
No.
You spoof his voice and how
No.
that works? The next one is from the same, recording,
Same recording, same transcript, page 13.
same recording, same transfer, page 13.
Just to be clear, this would be before, so you're going backwards in the conversation. Correct?
No, it's the same one, just, this is the May 2023.
My question is, in terms of timing, is what you just played before or after in terms of timing? Yeah, it's earlier in the
It's
conversation.
really, sorry.
I just want to make sure that we're making clear when these are being played.
Nigga, I'm suing this shit out of you. That's what else my game. And regardless, I don't give a fuck about no police, nigga.
Whose voice was that saying, suing the shit out of him? That was my game regardless. I don't think that's about the police.
Relly.
You didn't make up that voice.
No.
The computer generate that voice.
No.
Okay, next is from the August 2022 recording, which is exhibit again.
So exhibit B was the second portion of that recording with the transcript.
You would just ask, when you're playing chronologically, is this occurring after the time originally when you played?
Right, let's just say this is, so we'll be out.
No, but you played part of the August call. I'm just trying to understand, is this, you played the August call before this part, after, before,
Exactly.
after the part you already played?
Distribute this.
Let's get the,
Yes.
you got the transcripts out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The transcript is used as a Victor. The recording is used and used now.
Okay.
Okay, is there a page direct?
Page 5.
Page 5. Go ahead.
I already know. I'm here 30 M's.
Whose voice was that saying, I already know, me at 30 M's. And would you understand 30 M's to me? $30 million. And do you alter that voice? No. Just a couple more, this is generally done.
Same recording, same transcript, page 5. Continue page 6.
Same recording, same transcript, page 5, continue on to page 6.
You're gonna have to deal with that and his political ties and everything else. Because once I walk away, when I get my cash, the case is way weaker. It's just like a domestic violence case. If you was to hit your bitch and your bitch was to keep on going through with the situation, you go down. But if you're not there, then you're going against the state and it's way weaker.
Okay, whose voice was that, sir? And what did you understand from the saying to there?
Objection is going to call for speculation. It's also irrelevant what he understood. His side is not relevant.
Sustained.
Okay, that's one. There's one last one. I'm going to ask you about this question they asked Mr. Efron now, last week. So, same
Recording, same transcript.
recording, same transcript,
Page 6, continue to page 7.
page 6, continuing to page 7. Let's look.
If I'm not there, if you pay me out, via my lawsuit, I'll walk away. Basically, because I'm doing another highways, correct? You get what I'm saying? They're gonna be scrambling to find me because now they have to go against Rocky to see. And here they have evidence in San Antonio, it's not gonna be the same when you present it to a jury and you don't have a complaining witness.
Mr. Denton, whose voice was it on that recording that said Tony Park would be able to find me because I'll be going to another item just relaxing? And whose voice was it to say they have evidence, this, that, and the third, but it's not going to be the same when you present it to the jury and you don't have a complaining witness? Did you alter that recording? No. Did you superimpose that voice into there? No. Did you hear him say that was fake? Yeah. Was that fake? No. Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
You okay? Anything more, Greg? Everybody's good? All right, Mr. Relly?
Mr. Jimmy, would you agree that you are much closer to the defendant than you are to Relly? correct?
Fair said,
And you do business with the defendant, right?
sometimes,
How much money has the defendant paid you for your work in the past 3 years?
3 years, I don't recall.
Let's give an estimate.
I would say maybe 20,000 per year, so say 60,000.
And I would assume, is he one of the bigger names that you work with?
No,
He's not.
I work with a lot of people, a lot of brands, a lot of celebrities and names, yeah.
What was your income last year?
I have to look at or ask my accountants, but income last year, I would say, around 85,000 possibly.
So if your income was 85,000, but even by your own estimate, he would have, his business would be about 25% of your income, correct?
No, like I said, we get paid by a lot of different people.
So that's what I'm telling you. You said you're estimating your income at 20 grand a year. I'm sorry, your income at 85,000 a year. You're saying he's giving you about 20 grand a year over the past 3 years. 20 grand is a little less than 25%.
Well, you asked me for my personal income, right? I didn't tell you what the business made.
Well,
Right,
I asked you what your win is. You said it's your business, correct?
correct.
So
So,
would you agree that the defendant represents his substantial business? Income for you,
for me personally or my business?
for you personally.
No,
Well, if your personal income is $85,000 and he's giving you 20,000, you just don't consider $20,000 to be significant. Is that
he's
correct?
not paying me personally. He's paying my business.
So in the end, if he's paying, who owns your business?
I do.
So in the end, does the money go back to you?
Not all of it. I have employees.
So you say that he is a friend of yours, correct?
Correct.
How close of a friend?
Speak time to time, not often. Sometimes I don't hear from him.
How often do you talk to him?
Once every other month, possibly.
So you're aware, I just want to back up. It's fair to say that the defendant is a pretty big person within the rap world entertainment industry.
You can say that.
Well, I'm not asking. If I'd say it, would you agree with it?
Sure,
And would you agree that his girlfriend, significant other, she's even bigger than he is, right?
sure.
For someone like you, would you agree that being in a good relationship with people like A$AP Rocky and Rihanna, that is a positive for your career? Is that right?
Well, I only do business with him. I don't do business with his.
That wasn't my question. That was a striking answer.
Sustain.
Listen to my question.
Sure.
My question is, would you agree that people like A$AP Rocky and Rihanna, given the business you're in, that getting in good with them is positive for your future business?
Sure.
And in fact, that's why as soon as, according to your testimony, as soon as you finish that call with A$AP Relly, you called the defendant, right?
Correct.
And in fact, it's fair to say, you did this call because you wanted to set up Relly to see what you could figure out, what might end up helping A$AP Rocky in this case, correct?
No,
So when you set this up, you said you wanted to video, you wanted to audio record. That sounds like you had some planning involved, correct?
I didn't set anything up. I was there to mediate the situation.
So you just decided that you were gonna call him up, chat him up, and then immediately after that call, even though you only talked to him like every other month, you're like, yeah, I think I'll call A$AP Rocky up.
Well, he was calling me numerous times first.
Who was calling you, A$AP Rocky?
Really?
That's not what I asked you, most of this, right? You know what, I'm
Wait a
always,
minute, he misunderstood.
listen to my question.
Ask the question again.
What I'm asking you is, you're telling me you rarely talk to A$AP Rocky, you talk to him maybe every other month, right?
Correct.
But as soon as you spoke to Relly, the first thing you do is call him up and let him know, hey, here's what I got, right?
Correct. It's a situation between them two.
And you were looking to parlay your call on Relly to see if you could help A$AP Rocky and ingratiate yourself with him, correct?
No,
Well, let me ask you something. As you sit here today, would you agree that if A$AP Rocky is convicted, that very likely that's probably not going to be a positive for you and your income with respect to him?
no, I'll be fine.
That's not what I asked you. Listen to my question. If A$AP Rocky is convicted, you would agree that you might not be getting that 20 grand a year that you estimate you're making from him going forward, correct?
Objection.
Grounds?
Thank you, sir. The first question was, it would be positive, you can't answer that.
That's not a legal objection.
Just state what you're
It's a different question. First question was a different question.
It's not a legal objection.
Just,
Courtroom. It's a courtroom.
read the last question.
Your Honor, we don't have a legal objection.
This is right?
No, I didn't look at it. This is the first question that answers this question.
That's not an objection, Your Honor. It's not a
Oh,
legal
just
objection.
the objection is legal. There it is.
That's not a legal
Both of
California
you
objection.
stop. Both of you be quiet. Read the question. And the answer.
Question, let me ask you something. As you sit here today, would you agree that if ASAP Rocky is convicted, that very likely that's probably not going to be a positive for you, and your income is affecting him? Answer, no, I'll be fine. Question, that's not what I asked. Listen to my question. If ASAP Rocky is convicted, you would agree that you might not be getting the 20 grand a year that you estimate you're making from him going forward. That's another objection.
It's a fair question.
You understand the question?
Objection's overruled.
Can you ask again?
Sure. You testified that you're making approximately 20 grand a year. You said your income's $85,000 a year. I'm just asking, you would agree that if he gets convicted, you would agree that probably does not portend well for you with respect to continuing to get 20 grand a year from him, correct?
Sure.
Sure, is that a yes?
Yes.
So-
Yes, no.
You would agree that no matter what actually happened in this incident, your motivation, your goal, as you sit here, is you don't want your friend to get convicted, correct?
No, my goal is to tell the truth.
That's not what I asked you. Do you agree that as you sit here right now, that whether or not the defendant committed this crime or not, you don't want him to be convicted?
Technically, no, I don't want anyone to go to jail, so, no.
So what you're saying is that even if it is proven that the defendant assaulted the victim in this case with a firearm, you agree that you do not want him to be convicted, correct?
The objection.
Grounds.
It's a fair question.
Your Honor, again, he doesn't give us an objection and then he gives no grounds.
All right, well, in any grounds, it's overruled, so,
Okay,
so the question can be asked.
Ask again?
please read the question back.
Question, so what you're saying is that even if it is proven that the defendant assaulted the victim in this case with a firearm, you agree that you do not want him to be convicted, correct?
No.
So a moment ago, you just said you don't want anybody to get convicted and go to jail. Now I just asked you whether you want the defendant to be convicted, even if he committed a crime. You said, no, I don't agree that I don't want to convict, which is,
If he committed a crime, sure. Justice, right, needs to be served, so.
so as you sit here today, your position is you're just an unbiased person coming in here to do your civic duty.
Correct, I was friends with both of them, so
Well, you weren't really good friends with Relly, correct? You're much closer to the defendant.
I was friends with them,
Well, you were much closer to the defendant, correct?
correct,
You said you flew out here, is that right?
correct.
I assume was that first class or business?
It was business,
Nice lie flat seats, I assume?
sure.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't there. So does sure mean that's what happened? What does sure mean?
Sure mean yes,
Okay, if you can answer yes or no, but just make it easier for my.
no problem.
Okay. So you flew out yesterday on a lie flat seat at the expense of the defendant and his lawyer, is that correct?
Correct,
And you came here not because you have any financial motivation, but because you simply want the truth to come out, is that right?
Correct, because someone said the audio recordings weren't real.
So let me ask you something. What you just heard, those were snippets of approximately 30 minutes of conversation, is that correct?
Correct.
And during those 30 minutes of conversation, at any point in time, did Relly ever tell you that the shooting did not happen?
No.
Did he ever tell you at any point in time, you know what? Yeah, I'm trying to get his money, but I made the whole thing up.
No.
In fact, isn't it true that what he was telling you was that that man shot him and Relly wanted to make sure that he got his for what happened? Is that correct?
That's what Relly said.
And you weren't there, is that correct?
No.
Correct. Hold on. That was another thing. You weren't there, were you?
No, it's not.
And you don't have any idea whether or not this incident happened or didn't happen.
No.
So here's my, did you ever ask Relly? Hey, I'm sorry, did you ever ask the defendant, hey, listen, this guy's saying you shot at him. You ever ask him what happened?
Objection voted.
You ever ask him what happened?
I don't recall.
So you are having conversations with Relly, which you're taping, and then immediately calling the defendant to report what happened. And you're telling me you've never asked the man, hey, did you cap 2 rounds at him?
I said I don't recall.
Well, is that something you think you remember?
3 years ago, I don't recall.
So you're telling, I just want to make sure I understand this. Your testimony is, yeah, I'm recording him, and I'm well aware of this situation that happened. And I talked to the defendant about it, I talk to him every couple of months. But I've never asked him, hey, Relly's accusing you of shooting him, did you do it? You never asked him that.
I don't recall, no.
Well, isn't it true? You didn't ask him that because you don't want to know the answer.
Objection, Your Honor. The state's testimony, they doesn't recall.
It's cross examination.
Yeah, fair question.
Isn't it true that you didn't ask him that question because you don't want to know the answer?
Like I said, I don't recall, but I might have asked them.
So now you're saying you might have asked him if he shot Relly, but you don't remember the answer.
I said I don't recall me asking him that question, right?
So let me be clear. I want to know, has the defendant ever discussed with you anything about the shooting?
No.
So then your answer would be, if you ever asked him about it, would be a definite no, correct?
Sure, correct, son.
Then why is it a moment ago you just said, I don't know, I don't remember?
Because I don't recall.
Do you understand the difference between no and I don't recall?
Yes.
So no, would you agree would mean he absolutely never mentioned anything, and I don't recall would be, I'm not sure. Would you agree with that, those definitions?
We can agree to that.
And my question is, don't you think that as you're taping Relly for somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes, getting information about this incident and about what he intends to do, and then calling the defendant back immediately to report what happened, that you might have had a conversation with him about, hey, dude, what actually happened? Did you shoot the guy? You're saying that didn't happen, you never asked?
Never asked.
Are you curious?
No.
So you don't have any interest at all as to whether or not the defendant actually shot at Relly?
Doesn't make a relevancy objection again.
Sorry, no. Go on with that subject.
So, would you agree, your position is that you are talking to Relly and he is telling you about what he intends to do in terms of getting money from the defendant? Would you agree?
Yes.
Did you ever say to Relly during any of these calls that you recorded, hey Relly, how come you're getting money from him if the shooting never happened?
Never asked that.
Don't you think that would be a legitimate question to ask him?
No, I was just hearing his side of the story.
Well, and in fact, you would agree that there is nothing that Terrell has ever said to you, nothing, that in any way indicates that the shooting did not happen. You agree?
I agree.
Would you also agree that whatever efforts Relly makes after the shooting, however much money he asks for, whatever calls he makes, does that change what happened during the incident?
Objection.
What's that?
Sorry, then.
Well, let me ask you something. I'm asking you. You're taping him and you're reporting that conversation to the defendant. I'm asking you, is there anything about Relly's statements about suing the the defendant trying to get $30 million. Is there anything about those statements that you are aware of that changes what actually happened the night of the incident?
No, I think I answered that.
So would you agree that whether or not Relly sues for $1, 20 million, 100 million, 20 gajillion dollars, that in the end, either the shooting happened or it didn't? Would you agree?
Yes.
And it's your further testimony, despite all that, you've never had one conversation or asked him one question, the defendant, about what actually transpired.
Objection is.
How many calls in total did you record?
2.
2 calls? Now, you said that you were upset because the idea that Relly was coming into court, you said you were offended by his line. Is that correct?
Yes.
When you were taping his calls, did you know you were taping?
No.
Do you think that friends tape other friends' phone calls?
Sometimes they can.
I'm asking you, I'm not asking you physically. I assume, sir, that if somebody wants to record a call, I didn't ask whether it's technically possible. I'm asking, do you think that a friend records their friend's phone calls when that person doesn't know it?
Objection, he gave an answer.
That's not a legal objection. It's not.
Yes,
It's an
yes,
objectionable
yes.
question. It's speculation. What friends do is irrelevant. Ask another question.
You called Terrell a friend of yours, correct?
Yes.
Do you think that it was being a friend of his to tape his phone calls without his knowledge?
Yes.
How was that being a friend to Terrell?
Sometimes friends do things like that.
You mean sometimes friends betray friends by taping their calls and then calling other people to report what they found? Is that what you mean?
That's more than called betrayal.
Argumentative.
So, when is the last time that you had spoken to the defendant prior to immediately calling him after the May 2020 phone call?
I didn't talk to him.
What's that?
I said I didn't talk to him prior to really calling me.
No, so, well, you talked to him before, so I'm asking the last time. When did the last time be?
I'm not sure.
When is the first time? So when did you first find out about the whole incident, the shooting? When did you find out?
From Relly in 2022,
No, I'm not asking when you found out from Relly. When did you first hear about the shooting?
when Relly told me.
So you're saying you had never heard about this shooting that happened to your friend, ASAP Rocky, until May of 2022?
Correct.
So you're saying you speak to him every other month. You're aware that that shooting, that incident happened in November 2021, right?
Yes.
And you're saying that even though your friend was involved in a shooting, lead shooting, ASAP Rocky, you didn't hear about it for 5 months?
I heard about it from Relly first.
And you said the first time you heard about it from Relly was in May of 2022. That's what you testified to, right?
Yes.
So when's the first time you talked to Relly after November of 2021?
I'm not sure.
Well, give me an estimate of when the last time you spoke to him was.
So I'm not sure.
Well, here's my question. You would agree that the shooting involving ASAP Rocky, that was a big media event. Would you agree?
Yes.
Didn't you say, wait, what do you do for a living? Well, let me just get this right. You basically work on people's boosting their media profile, correct?
It's not what I do for a living.
What do you do for a living?
I'm not sure if you heard, but I run a technology agency and we build websites, software for brands, creatives, artists, musicians.
Right, you testified, quote,
And part of that, if you want me to get into it, sometimes people offer things like Relly did to help with their social media.
you are very involved in the rap entertainment world, correct?
No, I'm not. I'm not a rapper. I don't make music. I don't produce beats.
That's not what I asked you.
You guys if I'm involved in rap.
Are you involved in working with individuals in the music, rap, entertainment world?
No. Might be 10%, 20% of my client list.
So it's 10% or 20% of your client list, but ASAP Rocky is approximately 20 to 25% of your income. Just want to clarify that, correct?
You said, is my client as rappers or in the music industry? Repeat the question.
So here's what I'm asking you. You're telling me you never heard of this incident until May of 2022.
Until what you told me.
You're telling me that Relly is contacting you saying he wants you to boost his media profile. He's naming outlets like Rolling Stone magazine, correct?
Yes.
So wouldn't it be your job to be monitoring what's going on in the media with individuals that you're talking to?
No, it's not my job.
So let me ask you something. Your sworn testimony is, Relly told me about it for the first time in May 2022. That's the first I heard of this shooting, correct?
Yes.
Let me ask you, given what you do for a living, does that sound reasonable to you?
Yes.
So let me ask you something off the sidebar. This is nothing on the record. Concerns of. Come on up, please. Can we go well past 4:30? Is there anybody who could not go till 5:39? And it's merely to accommodate his flight. We want to try to get finished with him today. Is that okay with anybody? Is that okay with everybody? Kathy's willing, everybody's willing to stay, but I don't want to, if one of you has a commitment, I don't want to interfere with your lives. But if Mr. Sajimi wasn't flying, did you go back to Paris?
Yeah.
And when'd you fly?
6:30.
6:30
Yes.
tonight? 6:30 p.m.? That might be a lot better. All right, again, I apologize to you all, but I want to get finished. We all want, yes.
Can I just make a quick phone call for my rights?
I can't hear you.
Can I just make a quick
Of
phone
course.
call?
Why don't we take a break now? Kathy, if you all can stretch your legs, if you want to make a phone call, make a phone call. Let's resume at 10 minutes before.
Your Honor, clearly to the JA inquiry, I'm guessing my difficulty here. I'm just hoping that.
The first call that we're gonna play is the May 12th, 2022 call, the court redactions, and so the transcript of that will be 29.
Your Honor, can the jury be instructed that they are not trying to speculate what was redacted, what wasn't redacted?
Yeah, I had told you earlier that there are things in the transcripts that have been taken out. The things that have been taken out have no bearing on any decision you have to make. So that's why I didn't take it. What is being provided to you is what will assist you in your decision.
Well, now, that channel has a couple of questions first. Mr. Cheney, have you actually heard the full recordings of what you turned over?
Yes.
When's the last time you heard them?
This morning.
This morning. So you heard them in their entirety, is that correct?
Correct.
Would you agree that what the defense played was a tiny snippet overall of those recordings?
Yes, the recording was 30 minutes. Played, 3 minutes? So, yes.
And I just want to be clear. Even on the part of it, whatever part was edited that the jury is going to hear, at no point in time did Relly ever say to you, or imply, or infer that the shooting did not happen. Is that correct?
Correct.
Would you agree that in every interaction you've had with him, however many there are, since the incident occurred, that he has always been very clear in his position that the defendant shot at him and that he was hit?
Yes.
All right, we're going to play these to make it easy. You would agree that when the defense played you the calls, they started with them out of order. The first snippet they played was from August, and actually your first call was in May, is that correct?
May, June, July, August is the correct order of dates, correct? Yeah.
So we were saying May, June, July, August. I thought we only got 2 dates.
I'm giving you the sequence of dates, right?
Okay,
A
no,
month, right?
you know, let me just inquire, I'm a little confused what you just said. So my understanding is there are only 2 calls, one in May
Correct,
and one in August, is that right?
yes.
But you just said May, June, July, and
Let me
August.
correct myself. I'm giving you, you asked me, was May before August? I said yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right? So May,
Understood.
June, July, August is the
Got it.
sequence of dates.
So, understood. So I'm just making clear, we're now gonna play this. What we're gonna play, you would agree, this is chronologically, meaning this is the first of the recorded calls, is that right?
Yeah,
And before we start, it's your position that Relly called you and you called him back, all ready to record, is that right?
yes,
Prior, when he had called you, at that point in time, you didn't know what he was gonna say, correct?
no, it was just a lot of calls.
But what I'm saying is, at the time he called you, in May, you don't know about the shooting.
No,
Correct.
correct,
Okay, so the first time you find about the shooting is during the May 2022 call, and because you don't know what he's gonna be talking to you about, you have no idea why there's gonna be any value in recording him, is that right?
no, but there was a numerous amount of missed calls, kept calling him, so.
Here's what I don't understand. Why? If you don't know anything about the incident, anything about the allegations, why are you taping a call with your friend?
Just to protect myself, just to have, just oversight.
Why would you need to protect yourself from a friend when you know nothing about any incident that he was involved in?
It seemed weird.
So you're saying you got repeated calls from somebody, your friend, Relly. You didn't know what it was about, and so your response to getting repeated calls from him was to go, you know what, I'm gonna call him back, and I think I'm gonna tape him and not tell him, is that correct?
Correct,
And you were saying that was done because you felt you needed to protect yourself, is that right?
correct.
What were you protecting yourself from?
Just whatever was said. I mean,
So do you typically, when you get missed calls, you call people back and you record them?
they're being weird, yes.
What is weird about a missed call?
10 missed calls in 2 minutes, weird.
So when you say if someone's being weird, you didn't talk to them, correct?
No, but there might have been text too, but I don't remember.
Just fluid? Yeah. All right, let's play. I want you to listen to this. I'm gonna ask you questions about it. And,
Your Honor, when we get to the last page, it didn't print out, so I will pull it up on my computer.
So there's a page 16?
There it is.
Yeah, I don't think any of us have.
No one has it. It's, that's why I said I'll pull it up on my computer. All right.
So be on the screen.
All right, I'm gonna start the recording. And the file name is IMG_0786 redacted.
This is the May 12, 2022 call?
Yes.
Shit comes in my bad. I'm not gonna shit bed sometimes. What happened was, I'm not trying to pick sides. I'm at both on you, so that shit happened for me.
Stop. Did you hear what we just said?
Yes,
You just said, quote, I'm not trying to pick sides and shit. I thought you don't know anything that's happening.
like I said, there might have been text prior.
No, what you testified to, sir, was that the first time you ever heard anything about that incident was when Terrell called you. And I'm reading this, and it says, quote, no, I'm not trying to pick sides and shit. So I want you to explain to me, if you didn't know about it before this call, what in the heck is that comment about?
Yes, Judge argumentative.
Sustain.
Please explain what you meant by, I'm not trying to pick sides and shit, if you did not have any prior knowledge of the incident.
Just trying to mediate the situation after that.
How can you mediate a situation that you know nothing about and you've never heard of?
Like I told you, I might have received the text from him, so yeah.
Do you recall me asking you prior to the break, 3 different times, and again after the break, whether you had heard anything about the incident until you talked to Terrell on May 12, 2022, and you responded each time, no, this was the first time I heard of it. Do you recall responding? Sorry, Your Honor. It's loud because this court knows I can't hear, so my apologies.
Yes, but I thought you were specifically talking to the phone call, so
Wait, can you repeat that, please?
you can repeat your question. I'll answer it.
So what I'm asking you is, I asked you 4 different times before the break, and 1 time after the break. I confirmed the first time you had ever heard anything about this shooting incident that happened in November was during the May call, with Relly. And yet the first thing you say is, you know, I'm not trying to pick sides and shit. And then you say, in testimony today, I was trying to mediate. So my question is, how can you be talking about not picking sides and about mediating when you never heard of what happened?
I think I answered this where I think I received text as well. So, yeah, and what I mean by picking sides is trying to mediate the situation.
So when you say you received text, so are you now changing your testimony and saying, yes, I knew about this incident beforehand?
Objection, or
Repeat the question?
Are you now saying, yes, I was aware of the incident from November of 2021 prior to this phone call?
I'm not sure. 3 years ago.
Well, I want you to take a look. Look at the transcript. I want you to look at page 2, and I want you to read again to yourself. And I want you to read starting at line 8 to line 11, and tell me if now you understand whether or not.
Yeah, I think I get your question, and my answer again is, I believe, I'm not sure if I received text messages about the situation, so, yeah.
So you're saying you decided to you recorded these calls. Did you save those text messages?
I'm not sure.
What do you mean you're not sure? Do you have those text messages today?
Probably not, and the definition of I'm not sure is,
Mr. Lawyer, are you gonna play with the rest of the?
I don't know.
I am, but I'm taking them one at a time, and I'll start playing again. All right, I think it's easier to hit each one as it comes up.
You hit this one a lot.
Well, Your Honor, I'm trying to get, he just now said that there were text messages he believes. What do you believe was said in the text messages?
I don't remember.
Well, so obviously, if you knew about it, that would have meant that Relly would have had to have told you what happened in these texts.
Possibly.
Well, when you say possibly, will you at least concede that you knew about the incident, given what you said, prior to you recording the conversation?
Can't confirm that, but not sure.
And let me ask again, since your memory's a little hazy, is it, as you sit here, maybe you think you might have talked to the defendant about it sometime between November and May?
No.
So what would be your rush, sir, right after you talked to Relly, to call the defendant if that was the first time you ever heard anything about the shooting, the lawsuit? What made you immediately pick up the phone and call Rocky?
I think I answered this, trying to mediate the situation, so send it over to him.
All right, couldn't you like?
Picking sides, that nigga 100% crazy and wrong. 100% wrong. And he got 12 years, it was mixed around. I'm not, you gotta understand, Rocky been on his high horse for a very long time, you feel me? Yeah.
Would you agree, sir, that during this little section, that Relly is basically telling you, he is saying that the defendant was 100% wrong, and then he got 12 ills mixed up in it?
I'm going to object.
Do you agree that in that section, sir, as you listen, as you read it right now, that Relly is telling you that Rocky is basically going wrong?
I'm objecting again.
The words speak for themselves.
Exactly.
Keep going, push the play button.
Your Honor, I'm gonna,
No, push the play button, let's continue.
I'll do that, but again, I keep asking, he doesn't give grounds. We're lawyers. Lawyers give grounds. That's how law works in California.
I know how it works in California.
Well, Your Honor, I'm
Stop telling me how it works in California, how it doesn't work. No speaking objections. State of grounds, state objection and the legal grounds, push the play button.
I can do what he did. I don't have, he forced my hand. You feel me? I got over 20 missed calls between him bills. Why is Rocky going out his way to do anything like that? You get what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you're gonna hear the story or whatever it is. But you gotta look at it like this. Why is he going out his way to call me 20 times that day? It was a story with him. Text messages saying, link up, where you at? And all of this is because of, I pressed him about Josh, him not doing right by Josh, and he spoke to Josh mom and lied. You get what I'm saying? So I wrote him about.
Were you aware prior to Relly relating this information to you that there had been a pre-existing issue between Relly and Rocky regarding Josh.
No, I don't know this.
Did you know what he was referring to?
Not really, I don't know Josh. I don't know Josh.
But you agree that ASAP Relly told you that he, in essence, pressed Rocky about Josh and about him not doing right by Josh and accusing Rocky of lying. That's what he told you, correct?
He's telling us how to story.
All right, please continue.
He gets a Bari later about that, but I'm with Bari. Bari got the phone on speaker. You get what I'm saying? This shit didn't fit well with me. So Rocky talks about me within that conversation because he sees I text him about Josh. You feel me? Told him to get ASAP out my name. This is 7 months ago. I took ASAP out my name. You feel me? Yeah. He's a bitch. So he goes in and says, hey, Bari, Bari influencer. A whole week later doing that complex car shit. You feel what I'm saying? Just what happened. I'm with Bari while Rocky hits up. Rocky says my name. You get what I'm saying? Real money, 12 year bills is at his house. I hit Real Money the next morning. Tell Real.
You agree that is ASAP Relly telling you that basically he is present for a conversation where ASAP Rocky is talking to Bari and just saying negative things about Relly, correct? That's what that means, correct? But if it's not clear, and I'm asking the witness because the witness understands how they speak.
You've already indicated that you want a legal ground.
Let me do this.
Mr. Takapita said objection, he's about to state the legal ground.
It's irrelevant what he believes relevant. That's the same objection. I just
Okay,
No, I'm not asking what
the words speak for themselves. In final argument, you can put your interpretation on what was said. Mr. Takapita can do the same thing.
You already might let them inquire the witness, since they're speaking in a manner that is not necessarily easy for anybody to understand. I have to inquire, what does that mean? I'm not asking,
You're not asking what that means.
what does it mean? What does what you just heard, where Terrell tells you that just basically, and I heard you, but in Rocky Head's head, he looked like a bitch because Barry had him on speaker. Rocky didn't know who else heard that conversation, but I heard him talk about it. And I told Rocky over the years, and if you have a problem with me, let me know. Stop rocking me to sleep. You feel me?
I can't tell you what he means. You need to ask Terrell.
I think it might be helpful if Mrs. Jimmy had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
So you're telling me, listening to that, you didn't understand that to me, that there had been a phone call where Rocky had been talking bad about Relly, not knowing Relly could hear it, and it's already been involved. That's not what you understood that to me.
He's telling his side of the story, so sure.
No, I didn't ask you whether it was true or not. I asked you, is that what Relly told you?
Yes, I'm on the other side of the phone call.
All right, keep playing.
I heard Rocky bitch ass tell him I don't fuck with him. You feel me? No fighting words, none of that. Just basically, nigga, I heard you. But then Rocky said he looked like a bitch because Rocky had him on speaker. Rocky don't know who else heard that conversation, but he know I heard him talk about me. And I told Rocky over the years, nigga, if you have a problem with me, let me know. Stop rocking me to sleep. You feel me? I feel it. Next thing you know, I guess that was enough for him. He felt like a bitch because he knew I heard that conversation. I wasn't supposed to hear that conversation because Rocky I never heard him say curse words or even have that type of energy towards me. You know what I mean? So now I know the real him. I tell Real Money, tell that nigga fuck him. You feel me? Boom, boom, boom. She gets related to him. Next thing you know, I get over 20, 30 missed calls between him and Ills and Rocky's text messages. I'm saying at the moment, I tell him he calls me, I'll probably answer him.
Did you take from that, as you heard it, that Relly was now telling you that there was a dispute between he and Rocky that also now was bringing in Ills as well, and that it had resulted in 20 or 30 missed calls between the defendant and Relly?
But I'm objecting again for the same reason I object to court's relevant. What this witness told me. Court, frankly.
Your Honor, it took me to ask you.
Stop, both of you, no speaking objections, don't debate. Do you know what this means?
I can't decipher what somebody, I'm hearing this side of the story, I can't decipher what they actually do.
Okay, all right, go on.
I'm not asking you whether you believe it or whether it's credible. I'm simply asking you, when you were told this, Relly was telling you that this dispute between he and Rocky had resulted in 20 to 30 missed calls between him, which is Relly, Gills, and Rocky. Is that right?
He's telling me that.
Yes. And he's also telling you he's staying at the Lowe's, and he tells you that he finally answered because he's sleeping. Is that right?
He's telling me that.
Now, you said you've been watching this trial, correct?
Correct.
When did you find out you were going to be a witness in this case?
Just recently.
Well, a couple of days ago, correct?
Correct.
And you continue to watch the trial, is that correct?
Correct.
Didn't the defense tell you, hey, listen, you're going to be a witness in this case? You should not be watching the trial?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustain.
For what, Your Honor?
It's irrelevant. Just ask another question.
When you were watching the trial, you were hearing and listening what witnesses were saying about this case, is that correct?
Yes.
So as you sit here, you know everything that's taking place up to this time in this trial, is that right?
No, I didn't watch every minute of every hour of the case.
Well, you certainly know overall what has been transpiring in this case, correct?
Not overall.
Do you know what,
If I miss some days, how is that overall?
do you know what the defense is in this case?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustain.
Are you aware that the defense is claiming that it was a prop gun that was used by ASAP Rocky?
Objection, Your Honor.
What's wrong?
It's not relevant what Mr. Sajidi is aware of as it relates to the defense.
Have you ever seen Rocky with prop gun?
Objection.
Have you ever seen a prop gun?
No.
And would you agree, I'm just gonna ask you, but would you agree that in the world that you're involved in the entertainment world, in the rap world, if somebody is a concern about violence or home invasion robbery, are you aware in your experience of anybody ever carrying a prop gun to deter that kind of conduct?
Objection, speculation.
I'm asking, he's aware, no speculation about it. Okay.
It's asking him to speculate. So,
I'm not in the entertainment world.
No, you don't have to. He said he's not in the rap world.
We
Ask another question.
We can be like,
He answered it, he said, where you at with his voice? I'm like, huh? Where you at? Nigga, I'm at the W, I'm not really at the Lowe's, you feel me? You know how you boulevard, they all look the same. You're not, nigga, that's a bum ass hotel. I'm like, huh? He said, show me outside. Okay, all they look the same, I'll show them outside. When you guys, I'll be in 5 minutes. I'm like, alright, my girl, like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, I don't know. He calls me, yeah, I found out all these text messages, what do you think is done? You and a couple other people heard the story, Rocky out here thinking it's all sweet, but his life is really, and bro,
that's what I wanted to ask you, bro. Like, why didn't you do it though? You feel me? Why take it to you know, to the guys? You feel me?
for me,
Yeah, they know how to do it.
I'm winning now, bro. He's a multi-millionaire, he running at me. I'm no longer on his level. Everybody turned on me. Everybody, bro. Rocky had everybody turn on me.
what did you mean when you said, why take it to, you know, the guys? What did that mean?
The police, I wanted to have them find a resolution outside of legal or police.
Would you agree that if Rocky shot him and hit him, isn't that a police matter?
Sure, yes.
Well, so why then are you saying, you know what, why are you taking it to the guys?
I think I just answered that.
So have you already decided what side you're on?
No, but I think when you're trying to mitigate a situation, the best solution is not all of this.
You used an intro, you just said mitigate. Before you said mediate.
Mediate, I'm sorry.
Well, let's back up. You were trying to mitigate this situation for your buddy.
I spelled wrong. I was trying to mediate.
Let me ask my question. Who used the word mitigate?
I did and I was wrong.
Motion to strike everything after I did as non-responsive. You would agree that in using that term, that could certainly, if you could convince Relly to not cooperate with the police or authorities, that could mitigate the situation for your friend ASAP Rocky, correct?
I'm trying to mediate the situation.
How exactly were you trying to mediate the situation to help Relly?
Really just hear him out.
Hear him out on a tape call that you could then call your buddy ASAP Rocky about, is that right?
Mediating a situation to me was hearing him, his frustration.
Hearing his frustration, your friend, so you could report it to the true person that you had interest in protecting, correct?
It was right. I think it was right to show the other person or show both sides when you're talking both sides. So, yeah.
How many of your calls with Rocky?
No, we didn't talk on phone. Never talked on phone.
Go ahead, continue, go ahead.
Yes. I'm just gonna, are you okay to get it after that?
I'll ask another question in the meantime. So we don't waste any time.
Everybody talking. Everybody, bro. Why can't everybody tell me that? Hey, cuz, what the fuck am I doing? Spell this gun, go shoot up, shoot him up. My cripple that cuz no time, bro. I'm not having nobody shoot at me when I'm taking on the 10. And 2, I'm not about to spin on Rocky's block. I'm already a millionaire, nigga. You get what I'm saying? So,
At this point, Relly was telling you that Rocky had shot at him, correct? What you just heard.
I don't know what he meant exactly with, why wouldn't I, bro? He's a multi-millionaire, he's laying at me. No longer worries about
Where he says, or do I cripple him because he's a multimillionaire, bro? I'm not having nobody shoot at me. You didn't understand that to me? He was saying that Rocky shot at him?
That's what he meant. I can't decipher what he meant, right?
You cannot decipher what he meant by, I'm not having nobody shoot at me. You can't decipher that.
Just say. The words speak for themselves. Again, you can comment on them in final argument, or Mr. Zloman, whoever does final argument, as can Mr. Jack. The words are there. Both of you can put whatever input you want. Go on to the next question. Go ahead, Blake.
but you like, you're a black nigga. Everything how you only how to do this. You watch me do that? Do you have a foundation for black people? Do you have a foundation for anybody? No, this nigga's great. You hear what I'm saying? So I can't sit here and be like, oh, how you meet somebody like that, bro? You take away what they have, donuts. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not doing all something like this, that, and third. I'm some holy shit. I would have had a guy warrior. I'm just saying, me, because he would have had me 4 or 5 times. I had to use bills as a shit, or I'd be dead. I feel.
Did Relly tell you that he had to use bills as a shield or I'd be dead?
He said that.
Keep playing.
I'm trying to, you feel me? I'm not trying to end slash and shit with some paper or something, but like, you know, like.
Bro, it's too late. He told me shit I did. I am John, the same day. Bro, that's all I have. You got that much see nothing but time, bro. Man, I got the best lawyer in LA and work on my business. You feel me? He told John to try to contact me. I sent him the piece of the bullets, sent him the text messages of him, letting him know how serious this is. You know what he said? Nigga, fuck you. I feel, bro. So what am I supposed to do? I accept it.
So, Relly is telling you that the defendant shot at him and then basically told him, F you, I'm not giving you anything. And your response is, he says, you feel me, and you say, yeah. What was the point of your response?
I'm consulting through mediation, so.
So, you're consulting for mediation. Can you explain what you mean by that, please?
I'm meeting the situation, so I'm hearing him out.
Isn't it true that what you're doing is, you are trying to make Relly think that you are on his side, while at the same time, you are taping him, and then immediately contacting the man he is saying shot at him, who is actually your closer friend. Isn't that correct?
No, I'm mediating the situation, so.
Keep playing. So you also say, this is on, you got in front of you. You say, you gotta try to squash this shit, get some paper or something, or what? You know, like, you see that's on page 8, lines 7 through 9?
Yes,
You're telling him, when you need to get some paper, you're telling him, you gotta get some money from the defendant, correct?
I'm really just giving him options to mediate the situation, so there's resolution.
Right, and the option you're giving him is you're basically telling him he can go get money from the defendant. That's what that means, correct?
No,
What does it mean when you're saying to go get paper? What does that mean?
I'm giving him options, right? Not just one option, what you're saying.
So listen, I didn't ask you how many options you're giving. Listen to my question.
You said, what does this mean?
What
From
does it?
line- Let me finish, right?
Sure.
So what does this mean from line 6 to 9?
No, let me
That's what you asked, right?
No, this is what I asked you.
All right.
You ready? What does it mean when you said, get some paper or something? What does that mean?
It can be money.
What's that?
I said it can be money.
Wait, it can mean money or it did mean money?
It can.
What did it mean when you said it?
I said it can mean money.
Listen to my question. Are you the one that said that?
Yeah.
When you said it, did it mean money?
Yeah.
You were telling him you can get some money from Rocky. That's where you're saying you're trying to mediate, correct?
No.
No?
I'm giving options to mediate the situation.
Sir, one of those options is, you're telling him, an option would be, get some paper or something, correct?
Correct.
Now, let me ask you, up until this time in the conversation, has Relly mentioned that he is going to try to be getting a bunch of money from the defendant?
I'm not sure.
Well, would you agree that it looks like you're the person suggesting he go get some money? We just get some paper, correct?
Giving it an option within mediation.
And that's coming from you, correct?
Correct.
And you're aware that's exactly what he did, correct?
I believe so.
Well, you believe so, you're aware, you said you take him, he went and got a lawyer, and he ended up suing the defendant for money, is that right?
I believe so.
Okay, come on. Keep going.
Niggas shooting at me 4 or 5 times while I almost died, or shoot his head. Now coming when suing, of course, the severity of the case, he tried to kill me. So that's what he got to agree. You feel me?
I feel ain't no way it's this line, like, you feel me? No paper, no nothing, was that, like, you feel me? Like,
Bro, he's a grown, he's 33 years old. He got other things talking for him. He know what he did. You know what I'm saying? He got more than enough time. This shit happened 7 months later. He was trying to reach out to me. He still can't reach out to me.
I feel the legal shit important, I'm doing, you know, so.
That's all I didn't want to go back that way.
When he said on the top of page 9, he says, now coming with suing, of course, the severity of the case, he tried to kill me. He was referring to the incident with Rocky, right? That's how you look, is that right?
Objection to what he heard really saying is again, not irrelevant.
That's right.
Can you repeat the question?
So he is saying the severity of this case, and he says, now coming with suing, of course, the severity of the case, he tried to kill me. So that's where he's going to. That's why he got a read. You feel me, and you say, yeah, I feel. Ain't no way ends good like you feel me. No paper, no nothing, Rosie. You're saying at that point, he's telling you he tried to kill me, and you're telling him, hey, get some money, correct? As an option.
Trying to mediate the situation, yes.
That's not the question I asked you. Are you telling him to get some money as an option?
Not directly.
So what does it mean? What is indirect about you mentioning get some paper?
I think it's the way we talk. You really wouldn't understand, but there's a way we talk that puts out options, right? So, yeah.
So you're saying you indicated that paper is money, and you admitted that you're telling him to go get some paper, and now you're telling me apparently I can't understand the way you talk. It means something
You're
different.
just highlighting the word paper.
No, you said the word get some paper.
You're highlighting the word paper, but if you look around it, there's certain ways we talk that I'm giving off different options to mediate the situation.
So you're basically saying that in order for anybody to understand this conversation, we got to ask you to interpret, correct?
No, not necessarily, no.
Well, if you're saying that we can't understand the plain words you're giving, and you're further saying that you understand it and we don't, then it would seem that the only way we could understand would be to ask you to explain it, correct?
No, I said the dog was red. You can understand the dog is red. With certain terminology in the way we talk, you wouldn't understand it.
I just want to be clear.
You've accomplished what you've meant to accomplish. Push the play button.
Forget about a lawyer. When you get a lawyer, that has nothing to do with voice. And Jabari is his friend. He might as well thank him for him not being in the interview because those allegations, you feel me? He got enough, and you're part of the PR team. He would have enough people to block that if Jabari didn't say nothing, bro. Those are allegations. Jabari made it official.
Yeah, so what's the next one?
Jabari's getting sued too. Jabari's getting sued for defamation of character.
Cause everybody was bad, bro. You know, I'm trying to.
He was bad. He did that, bro. I didn't call you. I didn't have a gun. He left his Hollywood house. Why everybody saying everybody look bad? Why everybody put the finger? Because when I take bro out Hollywood, I got so many people.
Niggas were up to you, bro. Niggas were up to you, like.
He's in the kitchen. Nigga, I paid my way around it every single time.
Did Relly ever tell you during any conversation that he had any gun or any weapon during this incident?
Not sure, no.
Not sure, no, which is,
Relly himself?
did Relly ever tell you during any conversation that during this incident in November 2021 with the defendant, that he, Relly, had a gun or any kind of weapon?
No, he never mentioned that.
In fact, he said, made very clear he didn't have a gun, correct?
Correct.
Did you ever ask the defendant if he had a gun?
No.
Keep playing.
That's him. He uses niggas. He was talking, and that was the whole joke about the whole shit with Barbie and the whole thing. You get what I'm saying? The nigga asked Barbie, he comes to the complex car, and Barbie laughs at him like, nigga, you're not using me. Nigga, the next conversation was about how he got 12 and it was like a jet. That's some whole shit.
I feel you. Shit, that was shit, bro. Yeah, we grew up together, man. Like, you feel me?
I
Like,
made that nigga. Fuck, bro. I made that nigga. Not no 12, not no, he didn't pop up at my crib on purple swag. I made that nigga. That's why you feel like that, bro. I've been house rock, been that. Just already up the bro. I put every last one.
I just know that niggas are trying to end this shit, you know, by that.
You know, and he could have.
So when you're saying you just want this shit ended, you want bygones to be bygones, you wanted to mitigate this situation, whether the defendant shot him or not, correct?
You're saying to mediate the situation.
Did you hear what you were just quoted as saying?
Yes, I can read.
Okay, so my question is, when you're saying, I just want all you ends to kind of end this shit, and you know, bygones be bygones, you are saying you do not care what actually happened, you just want the situation to be over, correct?
No, that's not.
So what did you mean by that?
Can I ask you this? When you're mediating, you wanna come to a resolution? And, yeah,
So I'm gonna ask this question again, because you're not answering it. These are your,
Sustain.
sir,
Don't answer about it.
sir, these are your words. So I'm gonna read these words, and I'm gonna ask you specifically what the words meant. You said, I just want you all ends to kind of end this shit, and you know, bygones be bygones. What did you mean when you said that?
I think I just told you to mediate it and find a resolution between each other.
Okay, move on, move on.
He's not answering the question. He's not
Just did, move on.
When he shot at me, who ends anything when a nigga shoot at you 4 or 5 times, you gotta grab another member to protect yourself. He called me out my living space. Called me to tell me to stop ducking him. He played this called premeditated, bro. You feel what I'm saying? He didn't even take his time to come to a gun battle. I came to link him to see what the fuck this status was about. He pulls out. He tries to test on me. He tries to test on me and then pull out a gun for self-defense. He's a pussy boy. And me and Ilse is standing in between while he's trying to shoot me. He didn't give me no seconds. Or he acting like that. And I got it all on camera. You don't want that, like, trust me. You stupid. He did it all on camera, Cam. So the world looking at me because of Barbie's mouth right now, but in a few seconds, I wanted to do an HBO or do anything. His whole career is fucked. Everybody's looking at me like a man.
So that's what you, like, what's your eyes, what's the end of the world?
They came out showing this shit out of here. That was my game. And regardless, I ain't gonna give a fuck about no police, nigga. I'm going against a multi-millionaire that's trying to kill me.
So it's really,
You were played a small clip of this by the defense that only had the I'm suing the shit out of him. That was my game regardless. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Would you agree that that clip alone, just by itself, doesn't put the rest of the conversation in context?
Objection to that.
Still no ground, Your Honor. Objection to that.
The objections, that's an improper question, but that was an impeachment question, that's why I asked everyone.
That's not a legal objection. Your Honor, I keep asking you.
If you want, when the defense is asking questions, if you just want to say objection without a legal ground, I could probably infer what the legal ground is. I want to move the case along.
Your Honor, I'm just asking. The court has said they ordered both sides. We're lawyers.
Right.
I can't respond when he doesn't give a legal ground. The court makes me an offer that I don't have to say legal ground. That's not the rule of court. I say legal ground because I'm a lawyer. He simply says objection.
So what do you suggest?
He give a legal ground, as you told him.
And if he doesn't?
Then the objection is overruled, according to the evidence code and the rules of court. The court knows. I'm not the lawyer in the court is unaware of. That's all I'm asking, Judge. Just say it right. And instead we get along,
I heard you.
okay,
Proceed.
all right.
You never besides suing somebody like that. You feel me? Now you gotta face the consequences of that because he wanted to get against them and run out his career like that. That's nothing to do with me. You feel me? I did my part. You put that on my head. What else am I supposed to do?
I feel, I mean, like, splash that shit in the streets, type shit, like, man.
Hey, you street nigga. Bro, what the fuck?
I feel it.
You know what?
What did you mean when you said, I feel, I mean, like, squash that shit in the street type shit? What does that mean?
I think that's another cultural thing that you kind of wouldn't understand that we use, where it's really mediating the situation among ourselves.
Your Honor, can you instruct the witness to answer the question? That's not an answer.
And refrain from suggesting to Mr. Lewin or anybody else that they would or would not understand. Just answer the question directly. Ask the question.
It's hard to answer someone.
Do your best.
Okay.
Sir, I'm asking you, listen to my question, what you meant, what you said. I'm not asking you to respond that you were mediating. That's not answering the question. I'm not actually asking you to tell me that I wouldn't understand it. You said the words. What did you mean?
Let's find a resolution.
What specifically does it mean? Squash that shit in the street type shit. What does that mean?
Keep mentioning what it means, and I'm telling you, within our culture, it needs to find a resolution.
He's answered the question and move on.
And the resolution that you've already advised him of is get some paper, get some money, and keep the
I
cops
think I
out.
answered this, I listed different options as well.
What other options did you list, sir, besides get the money? What other options did you list in?
Have a conversation.
Have a conversation. So you're mediating, and your solution is, after the victim has been shot at, your solution is he should either get some money or have a conversation with the defendant. Is that correct? That's your solution?
There's more solutions, but yes.
Well, I'm asking, what solution specifically during this call, other than get some money, did you offer to Relly to solve the situation? Maybe one.
I think just to talk. Mediate the situation, yeah, just talk.
You're aware that Relly has told you that they went to talk and the defendant pulled a gun on him and then shot at him a couple of minutes later the last time they talked. You're aware of that, correct?
But over time, people's sensitivity and their feelings kind of change, so you can come to a common ground and talk.
So your advice to Relly was, sit down with the defendant, whether he shot you or not, because times change, we need to keep the police out of it, and we need to settle this amongst ourselves. That's pretty much your advice?
Trying to mediate the situation so we can talk,
Okay.
so there's a better resolution in the circus.
Wait, a circus, or you mean a lawsuit where the defendant might suffer adverse consequences? Or a criminal case where he might suffer adverse consequences?
I just need a resolution.
What do you mean you just said a circus?
Just really high publicity, public things.
Well, in fact, you had this conversation in May. That was just a short time after it was publicly revealed. You're aware now, you've been watching the trial, you said a lot of trial. You're aware that originally when this case happened in November, that Relly was not identified. But in April of 2022, it went all over the media saying that Relly was the guy involved, calling him a snitch, calling him a rat. You're aware of that now, correct?
Time to move on. Were you aware of that?
I was aware when he told me that.
All right.
When did he tell you that?
He told me about the situation on the phone call.
Go ahead, Glenn.
Can we just handle the street like that? You got 4 bodyguards, bro. Come on, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. This man running around with, come on. What street shit do he do, bro? This is a street nigga. You already know what happened. Everybody know what happened. We're talking about ASAP Rocky, bro. The case of Dior, like, come on, stop it.
I'm just trying to, I'm just, cause I fuck with you heavy, bro, like, you know, so it's not every time, nigga, and I fuck with you.
Yeah, but I'm trying to let people know, and the money was close by him. This ain't no, he ain't no gangster. Oh, bro, this ain't no gangster. If this was a gangster, this would be handled in the streets.
So how niggas
They
like,
got 3, 4 bodyguards on 24/7.
so everyone must be expert, bro, like, niggas go to court, you feel me, like, I'm not just
Oh,
talking
he's
shit.
finished. He's finished. He got the deal. He got it.
Why not just ask for the bag, or, you know?
I try to.
I want the court to understand that I will absolutely finish, Your Honor, by 5:30. I will be done. So I'm just asking the court, because I need to ask these questions. I'm asking the court for the same leeway that the defense got with Relly, who was on the stand for 5 days. So I will be done, I promise, by 5:30. So I'm just asking this, I'm asking these questions, that if there's a legitimate objection to say, the court is asking me to move on. For legitimate objection.
Because there comes a point where it appears to me that you fully explored the issue, and it is time to move it. You are accomplishing what you are intending to accomplish.
Okay.
And there's no reason to keep on that same issue. And again, at the end of the case, when you argue to the jury, when Mr. Tacopina argues to the jury, argue reasonable inferences.
Well, the problem is I need to confront the witness, is what I'm saying. So I'll be done by 5:30, Ron. So I'll go that. You have my word. If I'm not, you can stop me. With no argument, nothing back. So, what did you mean where it says, do you feel me, like, why not squash this shit? What does that mean?
Didn't I answer this? I think it meant to mediate the situation and find a resolution.
It meant to keep this, you then say, right before it, you said, what's next though, bro? Like, ends go to court? You're telling him what's gonna happen is, this case is gonna end up in court, and you're telling him you want to squash it before it gets to court, correct?
I'm asking him what his process was, and he's telling me.
Okay, good.
Bro, you don't ask for the back of the extortion, bro.
Hold on, sorry. Does everyone understand that you don't have page 16 in your transcript? It's gonna be up on the screen.
I can make it a little bigger.
Did everyone see it or no?
No, that's it.
Are you able to eliminate the
Yes,
picture
yes,
and center it? Can you make it bigger?
I can.
Did everyone see it
How
now?
about that?
Also, it's also right behind, to your right. Your Honor, if jurors, if it's easier for them to see, can they stand and see it
Sure, yes.
on, if that's easier?
All right.
When you got somebody that's shooting at you, you gotta look, bro. I'm smart, bro. You gotta understand I'm not a dumb black nigga, bro. You know what I'm saying? You ask for a guy without a lawyer first for extortion. You feel me? You're gonna do everything accordingly. Everything accordingly, or it's gonna catch up with you. I feel bro that.
And this is right after this call, you called the defendant and told him what it transpired.
I'm trying to think if niggas can like help out.
Correct?
What you said?
Right after you finish this call, you call the defendant, you tell him, here's what's going on, here's what Relly said.
Right.
When's the next time you talked to Relly after that?
Didn't we answer that? I think it was August 2022, right?
So what you're saying is now, whenever you call him, you got that tape recorder ready to go, right?
Well, I think you're missing what I'm telling you.
What's this right is non-responsive.
This is the thing.
Listen to my question. So what you're saying is, the next time you call him, you got that tape recorder ready to go, is that right?
He called me multiple times, and this I called him
The
back.
motion to strike is non-responsive.
What he's asking you is a yes or no. Gotcha. So go ahead and ask it again.
The next time you call him, in August 2020, that's the next time you spoke to him, correct?
Correct.
And you have the tape recorder ready to go, correct?
No.
Did you tape him?
Yes.
So you were able, he calls you, I'm sorry, you call him. You made a call, right?
Yes, that.
Motion to strike is non-responsive.
I didn't hear it.
He said back instead of he's answering the
Right
question.
back.
Well,
It doesn't
the
matter.
whole answer is non-responsive. It calls for yes or no.
Did you call him back?
Yes.
And when you called him back, you immediately were recording what he was saying, correct?
Yes.
All right, let's play the next call, please.
All right, I'm gonna ask to mark the transcript for the first part of the August 16, 2022 call, that's equals 30.
Which is the first part? Because there's two August 16th transcripts.
There, the first part is the audio file is IMG _07942. So it ends with a 2.
That's the first part?
And so that, the transcript for that audio clip will be 30. And I have copies for the jurors to pass up. The staples aren't totally flat, so don't poke yourself on them.
Yo, shit again. Come on, shit, man. We back. Okay, crib now. What you want? Shit, man. I just hopped on the computer and shit. I was gonna get them links and shit. You know what links you want to do, or you want me to take them shits? Yeah, shit. Just pop me the one from Rolling Stone, all those other publications. Just pick the top ones, probably Relly, TMZ, Rolling Stone shit. Alright, I'm ready. When I get it, I know I'm gonna do something. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna just try to get that shit moving for me. It's a lot. Yo, what's your overall thoughts on this shit, though? Like, coming from LA, and Rocky, like, fuck all that other shit. You think I'm wrong, bro? Bro, like, because niggas don't even know what I'm talking to you, bro. So, like, real talk, like,
So on page 2, you start off by telling him, you suggest right off the top that you're gonna submit those links. Those are links to the media stuff that you and Relly talked about, correct?
Correct.
So you're telling him, you're gonna get his story out into the media, is that right?
Yes, what he wanted.
But in actuality, while you're doing this, you're taping him, and after this call, you're gonna tell the defendant exactly what he told you, is that right?
Correct.
And in fact, on page 3, you straight lie to him, and you say, bro, like you feel me, because ends don't even know I've been talking to you, bro. You're saying the defendant doesn't know that you're talking to him, correct?
Niggas doesn't mean the defendant. Niggas can mean people.
Listen, I'm not asking you what it can mean, I'm saying what it meant here, is you are
I'm
making,
telling you that.
I'm not asking for any education.
That's not what he meant by it.
What I believe you meant by it, sir, was you are telling him that Rocky does not know that he's talking to you, correct?
I think I just answered that, where niggas, another cultural thing.
Won't you start with my responses?
Doesn't mean the defendant.
Just a minute.
Listen to my question. Isn't it true that by saying, in this time, during this conversation, not in general, when you say, bro, how do you feel? Because ends don't even know I'm talking to you, bro. You are saying to him that the defendant does not know that you are talking to him.
No, and there's also plural there, so defendant is singular.
And right after that, you literally say, so like real talk, like I'm even trying to play both sides. That is referring to Relly and the defendant, correct?
I think I just answered where niggas to me in this.
Motion to strike is non-responsive. Please instruct the juror to answer the question being asked, or you won't go home tonight.
You mean the witness?
Wait, excuse me, yes, Your Honor. I'm being as big as I can, but I want my question
It's
answered.
very important that if he asks you a yes or no question, that you ask yes or no, and don't volunteer it.
Sometimes he's not answering.
I understand that.
So I try to get my.
Well, what he's asking is yes or no.
Can you ask again?
Isn't it true that when you said, bro, like you feel me, because ends don't even know I be talking to you, bro, so like real talk, like I ain't even trying to play both sides. You are saying to him that the defendant does not know that you are talking to Relly.
No. Just told you.
And that's not what it meant. So you're saying, no, that's not what it meant.
No, because
That's an answer.
I literally just told you. I
Stop,
have-
stop. The objection sustained. Then ask him what he did mean.
So I want to ask you what you meant specifically by that comment, and I'm not asking for a general statement about mediation. What did you specifically mean by those words in that comment?
People, friends, niggas with an S is plural, didn't mean the singular to the defendant.
So what did it mean when immediately after that you say, I ain't even trying to play both sides? What side are you talking about?
Which line did you say? So I can read.
It's directly after what I just read you, page 3,
Yeah,
lines 8, and it goes through 12.
yeah, that line doesn't have to do with the first one, right? It's just me saying, within the mediation, I'm not trying to take both sides.
And by both sides, you mean the defendant and Terrell, correct? Those are the two sides.
Correct.
So when you are saying, I ain't even trying to take both sides, right after saying that basically ends don't even know that I'm talking to you, bro, you are saying the defendant does not know that I'm talking to you, and I'm not trying to take sides.
Objection as an answer sustained.
Go ahead.
I ain't even trying to play both sides. There's a genuine nigga that means well, you feel me? So like, I honestly think it just looks like that on both y'all niggas' names. You feel me? Like, it don't even matter. Like, real shit don't even matter. Like, what went on? It's like really what the.
See, I'm not even looking at it like a person's name. I'm looking at the circumstances. You know what I mean? Because I'm still gonna understand. I even still try to reach out to these people to join over that. Like I could went straight to the boys and did all that extra shit in the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nah, really, bro.
I just think that his fame and his legacy, and like how my lawyers.
What was just played, where Terrell told you that he didn't even reach out to the boys originally, you agree, he's telling you that he didn't reach out to the police originally.
Can you start referring me to the line so I can read what you're reading?
Sure.
Follow you. Thanks.
Sure.
Your Honor, objection lacks foundation, speculation, by personal knowledge. He can't speak to what the witness, can't speak what the other witness. Well, Mr. Najimi just asked to be referred to a line, so do that. Mr. Which line are you referring to? One moment, Your Honor. And on page 4?
Lines 2 through 5, Your Honor, with respect to the objection, the witness has repeatedly stated that I can't understand what exactly he means in these conversations. So I have to ask him, because he refuses to acknowledge the plain words.
You're entitled to ask,
So what do you mean by that?
well, that's Terrell Efron.
Is it true that what Terrell was telling you was that he tried to keep the police out of it and handle it without their involvement?
Your Honor, again, objection, same objection, speculation, lack of foundation. He didn't speak to what's in the.
Hold on.
That's what he said. Can't tell you what he meant.
Okay, but the way you took that is he's telling you, hey, I could have went straight to the boys. That means I could have went straight to the police, correct?
Yeah.
Okay? But he says did all that extra shit from the beginning. So he's telling you, I could have done that, but I didn't. That's what he's saying, correct?
That's what he said.
Okay.
I could restart, Your Honor, I think it's close to the response.
It froze you?
Things and his legacy, and like how my lawyers were saying, it's the fact that it's just my skin color. People thinking that I'm supposed to be at a certain, which is like crash, like people expect black people to be crash test dummies. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
Like, oh, you a hood nigga. Oh, you supposed to be like this. Like, what?
yeah, but you think like, bro, I think niggas should just resolve that shit peacefully, quietly, like, you feel me? Like, and just like, I got
That's what I tried.
I feel it.
I tried. He didn't even reach out to me or nothing. Like, this is nothing like, he's still thinking that this shit is a joke. He's gonna find out when he goes to preliminary hearing, and that's when he's gonna try to, his people are gonna try to reach out because they're gonna realize how bad this shit is.
How much money you looking for? Like, what you doing?
It's not how much I'm looking for, it's what I'm suing for, what stands in the bracket to what it is.
I feel
I mean, you know what I'm saying? But it comes with a lot of different reasons. It's 4 different lawsuits.
I feel what you thinking. How you thinking this shit look though? Like, you feel me? Like, like just like, you know, from the perspective of just like outside looking in, you feel me? Like
I feel good because I know who it is. I know you never looked out for nobody. He really not who people think they like when the smoke clears. He's not that person. You get what I'm saying? So if he would have did, you gotta understand. I knew Rocky before anybody. He knew my brother died. He knew I was fucked up. He knew Tyrese was fucked up. He knew a lot of people. He knew everybody's situation. It's him. It's just 6 months. You know what I'm saying? He come around. He tell you he does fix shit, and you don't even have to put money to fix shit. And then guess what? You don't see Rocky for another 6 months. You got new bodyguards, he in new set situations. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like he allowed people to sleep so much. So how can you even feel sympathy? You know what I'm saying? Because when do I get my sympathy? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why you don't just stick like a couple of heads and chill? You feel me? Like,
It's not to me. That's not the way how it goes. When you do it once, I try to do it that way. You see what he said when I said you that was recorded.
yeah, I feel it. How about now? You feel me? How about now? Though, you feel me?
It's too late. Like it's too late. My lawsuit is still there already with the like. The niggas like when I went to the lawyers filed gave the police the evidence, but you can't sue somebody with circumstances like that without criminal actions because it's such a heinous crime.
So it's when you could like withdraw the lawsuit type of shit and then, you know, or just settle type of shit, you feel me?
No, he would settle, and then that means that I would go to court or wouldn't do anything, and he have to go against the state, and it would be way less.
Yeah, man.
So that's attempted murder. That's not like me and you thrown together. We had an argument, and then the fight broke out, and the gun came out. He purposely knew what he was doing. When you purposely know what you're doing, that's a whole different ballgame. You get what I'm saying? And I'm still feel sympathetic for this man because I know that. I know what he's about to endure. But he told me, fuck off, go to the police. He told me this type of shit. If I was to put that out, when I sent you, if I was to put that out to the world, bro, they would laugh at him. I'm not the toughest nigga in the world. I don't know but too many gangster niggas that's gonna come at Rocky. He's a millionaire, bro. That shit can come from anywhere. He decided to fire on me. That was the worst thing ever. He should have had somebody who did that because when you do that, that means not only are you jeopardizing your career, you're jeopardizing yourself and everybody you around. So you gotta take that threat out. Because that's the only way I would think.
Yeah, man.
Like who gets cool after somebody firing on you
was like settled, you feel me? Like, none of that shit come out.
None of that could come out there because I can put it up and that's what I'm signing the NDA for, and that's what my lawsuit takes in place. You get what I'm saying?
So why don't niggas just do that? Like, you know, you're trying to get away with this shit.
No,
Like,
he's waiting to go to the very hearing because he don't know. Rocky don't even know the shit I sent you like that.
I mean, I would probably talk to him and shit and figure out, you know, like, so.
I don't even want to know message with him like that because he had bro, I hope he gets to reach out to me, bro. I'm not the hardest person to reach. You get what I'm saying? He chose to do that. Like, when you see what I just sent you the other day, I reacted off of me hitting up John to try to figure out what we're going to do here before I even get a waiver or anything. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to hear nothing from nobody, bro, until like some people was like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, shit.
And I don't want to jeopardize what you have going on, anything that you spoke to me, like, don't even put yourself involved in this shit, bro. Because Rocky start looking at you funny, and I don't need you feeling like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just trickle down at everyone, you feel me? Like, even if you feel me?
Your Honor, I've asked him Mark, the second portion of his call, the transcript as equals 31.
All right, this is what's, the audio is IMG0794.
Well, yes.
All right, so the last transcript is
And it is a short, much shorter call. That was part two. This one's 0742. This is oh, yeah. Yes.
this is part of the August 16th call.
Yes. I think it's, as he said, the end of the call, we had to cut it up.
Like, I was out and like try to talk to the nigga, he told me to like,
Bro, he's not even a total person, bro. I'm gonna be honest, especially with this type of shit in mind. He got 2 more days, so you would have quit.
I mean, I would probably talk to him and shit and figure out, you know what I'm saying? So,
I don't even want to know message with him like that because he had more than bro. I hope he gets to reach out to me, bro. I'm not the hardest person to reach. You get what I'm saying? He chose to do that. Like, when we see what I just sent you the other day, I reacted off of me hitting up John to try to figure out what we're gonna do here before I even get a waiver or anything. You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, you don't want to hear that from nobody, bro. It's to like some people is like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, shit.
And I don't want to jeopardize what you have going on, anything that you spoke to me. Like, don't even put yourself involved in this shit, bro. Because Rocky start looking at you funny, and I don't need you feeling like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just trickled down at everyone, you feel me? Like, even if you feel me?
Everybody who worked for him.
You feel me?
So everybody who worked for him, but he did that because he's stingy, bro. I can't not do what I'm doing and think about everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because I gotta worry about myself and worry about what the fuck happens to me. He wasn't thinking about nobody. Everybody's thinking like that, but then when it comes out, the niggas are gonna really start hanging him because, bro, why would you do that? Why would you put yourself out there and do something like that where it's unforgivable, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, say something like, it was a fight, you punch me, I can sue you, you don't go to jail, bro, you fired on me.
Yeah, niggas not trying to go to jail, that's what I'm saying. Like, niggas are constantly resolution, but they think about how much you want to get and shit, you don't even know.
I already know. I'm here 30 hours.
Yeah. That's crazy, son. That's crazy.
That's why I'm not like, you tell me I'm smart, bro.
What the cops gonna say? What the cops gonna say? You feel me? Because niggas are trying to go to jail type shit. Like,
he's gonna have to deal with that, his political ties and everything else. Because once I walk away, when I get my cash, the case is weaker. It's just like a domestic violence case. If you was to hit your bitch and your bitch was to keep on going through with the situation, you go down. But if you're not there, then you go against the state and it's way weaker.
At the court, shit, what's going on at court? You feel me? Like, that was against the state type of shit.
If I'm not there, if he pays me out, via my lawsuit, I'll walk away. And it's going to be find me because I'm going to the highway to scratch. You get what I'm saying? They're going to be scrambling to find me because now they have to go against Rocky, the state. And here they have evidence and saying that they're not going to be the same when you put it into a jury and you don't have a complaining witness. You get what I'm saying? So now they're going to have to offer him a deal.
You repeatedly, during this conversation, kept going back to saying things like, and could drop the shit, meaning the lawsuit, correct?
Yeah,
Yes, you know, I'm immediate situation.
Would you agree that with what I just played to you, there are approximately 10 different times where you suggest to Relly that he could drop this shit, drop the lawsuit? Would you agree?
It was an option to mediate the situation, right?
Would you agree that in what I just played to you a moment ago, this is on page 4 of the last transcript, he says, like, this ain't something like it was a fight and punching you. I could sue you. You're going to jail, bro. You're fired on me. And you respond, yeah. And not trying to go to jail, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, ends to find some resolution. You are saying to him that ASAP Rocky doesn't want to go to jail, and you are saying you want to find a resolution that involves money, correct?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
I'm saying when people are charged with things, if they're not guilty or if they're guilty, sometimes the repercussion is jail.
So,
And when you finish, and I personally don't like seeing people go to jail. So
do you have a problem with people going to jail if they shoot at somebody?
no,
You don't want to go to jail for that, correct?
no. If you're guilty of a crime, you should go to jail within the justice system, right?
So your position is, I just want to be clear, because you said both. Your position is that if ASAP Rocky is guilty, if he did this, then he should be convicted.
Objection.
He's already said in his, he said previously that he did not want anybody convicted of any crime where they went to jail. This goes to, that was the first 5 minutes of his examination. I didn't clarify. So this goes to his bias and
Stop. Read the question back. Yeah.
Which question?
Last.
can I just re-ask? Make it faster?
Yes, definitely.
Isn't it true that whether he committed this crime or not, you do not want him to be convicted?
Objection.
Let's go back.
I think I answered this. If you're committed of a crime, there's repercussions, guilty and not guilty.
You're not answering the question.
This is my question.
Okay.
If he committed this crime, isn't it true that even if that's correct, even if he committed the crime, you do not want him to be convicted?
If he committed a crime, then he should be convicted.
And you're saying that's what you want, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, you said that you were here to mediate, right?
I think I said it 10 times now.
Yeah, and mediate means you talk to both sides, right?
Yes.
So when you tried to mediate with Jarrell on May 12th, and then you called the defendant, tell me about the conversation you had with him where you were mediating.
Who's him?
Rocky. Tell me about that conversation.
It's argumentative, and he's yelling at
Oh, no.
Well, the conversation is I'm hearing his side.
And what was his side? What did he say?
He really just said it was just an argument, and they felt differences between situations.
He admitted to you that he had shot at Relly, correct?
Incorrect.
Did he ever tell you during that conversation, hey, listen, it was a prop gun? Did he ever say that?
No.
Well, if you're trying to mediate and you're trying to figure out a resolution, and you talk to one party and you've heard what they have to say, then don't you have to go back to ASAP Rocky and say, hey, listen, Relly is saying you shot him. Did you not say that to him?
Mediating sometimes is hearing both sides and giving some options.
So what was the side he gave you for what happened? What did Rocky tell you happened?
I just told you.
No, I want to know specifically, what exactly did he say happened?
Objection. Is there a reason he's yelling at the witness?
What exactly did he tell you happened?
I don't recall the specifics. I just told you the general overview.
You don't recall the specifics of whether ASAP Rocky told you whether he shot the defendant or not, the victim or not? You don't recall that?
No.
Yes, answer.
So he might have told you that he shot the victim, you just don't remember, is that correct?
Incorrect.
Well, so you just said you don't remember, now you're saying, no, he didn't tell me that he shot him. So if you don't remember, how do you know that's not what he said?
Well, I don't want to be wrong.
Well, so that's what I just told you, sir. As you sit here, sir, you said you were trying to mediate this dispute between Rocky and Relly. You talked to Relly, and Relly gave you a lengthy version of what happened on that November night, correct?
Correct.
So my question to you is, if you're going to mediate, you have to have asked Rocky what happened, correct?
Correct.
So what you're saying is, I asked him what happened, but I don't remember what he said, correct?
Correct. I said I don't remember the details.
And let me ask you, if he would have told you, hey, I shot him with a prop gun, you would sure as heck remember that, wouldn't you?
Not necessarily.
So you would not remember if ASAP Rocky was saying, hey, everything Relly said is not true, I shot him with a prop gun.
I don't recall specifics.
So as you sit here, you would agree that you understand, as I'm asking this question, that if you admit that ASAP Rocky either told you he shot Relly or admitted that it wasn't a prop gun, you understand that will be very bad.
Objection to relevancy of what this witness understands is bad for Rocky. Your Honor, you know what that question is?
That's not speaking objection.
Oh, okay.
The question,
Let me read that question back, Ron.
the question goes to bias. Bias
That's
has.
not about bias.
What's that?
That's not about bias. Listen to the question. It's asking his opinion of what happens to him.
Your Honor, this is a long-standing objection.
The question is designed to elicit an answer, and the answer could go to bias and interest in the result of the trial.
Your question runs out.
Yes.
So as you sit here, you would agree that you understand, as I'm asking this question, that if you admit that ASAP Rocky either told you he shot Relly or admitted that it wasn't a prop gun, you understand that will be very bad for you.
It's a fair question.
Yes, I understand.
Is it still your testimony that as you sit here, that you have testified as an unbiased witness? Is that your testimony?
Yes.
You said that you don't recall specifically what ASAP Rocky told you during this mediation, correct?
Correct.
Let me ask you something. Do you believe, as you sit here, whether it's true or not, do you believe that it is reasonable that you can have a mediation with ASAP Rocky about what happened during this incident, and you have no memory of what he told you? Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yes.
That sounds reasonable.
Yes.
Nothing further.
Was this a formal mediation, sir? Were you a mediator?
This is direct examination.
Was this a formal, you just asked a million questions about this mediation. Were you performing a formal mediation?
No.
Okay. Now, let's get back to something. Sir, you were brought in here by the defense to authenticate 2 tapes, nothing more.
Objection is to leave.
Why were you brought in here by the defense?
To
That's a
verify,
call for speculation.
to verify audio that was said by the victim that wasn't near him.
Okay. That you heard Mr. Efron say was fake?
Correct.
That's
Yes.
why you brought here?
Yes.
You were cross-examined for 2+ hours.
Objection, that's argument.
Sustained.
So all those questions that you just asked for, how many minutes it was, sir?
Objection, argument, question can't be considered.
Right? You can
The
ask
question hasn't been asked yet. The question hasn't been asked yet. It's premature.
all the questions you just asked by Mr. Lou. Did he once ask you?
Objection, argument.
Did he ask the question?
You gotta let him finish the question.
You're right.
You gotta let him finish the question.
You're right.
No, don't talk to each other.
Here's the question. Did Mr. Lou asked you once if you fabricated those tapes, like Mr. Efron swore to the jury?
Objection,
No.
objection is irrelevant, it's also outside the scope.
room.
No, I never asked him.
Never asked you that. There's 2 things, by the way, on these transcripts that were played that I would like to just ask you about. I'm not going to replay them because I want to get back to your reply. Okay? On page 7 of the transcript prepared by the district attorney, which was the May 12th, 2022 transcript. If you find out, let me know, sir. You know, you have one second for that. It's May 20.
May 12, 2022, page 7.
Yes, sir. On the top,
Line,
226.
what is it, guys?
Where Mr. Efron said this was played right you and the jury. Whether I crippled him because he's a multi-millionaire, bro, I'm not having nobody shoot at me where I'm taking it on the chin. And 2, I'm not about to spin on Rocky's block. I'm already a millionaire. And then you say, "Word." See that?
Yes.
Okay. So there he's telling you he's a millionaire,
Yes.
Mr. Efron. Are you aware that he testified in this courtroom that what he told you was not true there?
Objection, relevance, it's also improper.
Sustained.
On page 13 of the August 16th, 2022 transcript, and it's the 974-2, like this. 974-2, so August 16th, 2022. Page 13. Again, sir, this was played for you, the jury, and it's not played again, but I'm showing you. The top attribution, Mr. Efron, lines 2 through 6. Mr. Efron said to you in this recorded call, he chose to do that, like, and you seen what I just sent you the other day, how he reacted off of me hitting up John, to try and figure out what we're gonna do here before I even hit up a lawyer or anything. Did you see that?
Yes,
Did you hear that?
yes.
And who do you understand John to be?
Rocky Logan manager.
Okay. And he's saying here, he hit up John before he even hit up a lawyer, right?
Yes.
The first question I asked you, one of the snippets I said to you earlier, and it was played by the district attorney, and don't worry about the transcript, is that Mr. Efron said to you, you heard this courtroom, well, when I was asking you questions in the saloon. You know what I'm saying? You asked for a bag without a lawyer wrote, it's called extortion. You remember that?
Yes.
When Mr. Efron said to you, and you just heard it, I'm getting 30 M's, the DA won't find me, I'll be relaxing on an island. Were those words fake? Or was that a second?
I was gonna start from.
You didn't put those words in sound?
No.
This is outside the scope cross, I never asked about anything. I never asked about any, actual whether the words were real or not.
All right.
It's outside the scope, motion,
He's not gonna be able to come back for any more questions.
And are
Whether
you
it's outside the scope or not, it's a fair question.
Are you sure, sir? You didn't come here to authenticate these tapes. You can get 2 business class tickets for 13-hour flights over the 30-second period.
objection, leading and argument.
All right.
It's leading.
It is.
Why'd you come here against it?
To verify, lies that were told in my name. And
Why?
Because audio was played to the victim and he was saying they were fake, so I wanted to confirm that they were real.
All right, no,
I have 2 questions, Your Honor.
2? Okay, what's question number 1?
I
Question number 1 is?
Question number 1 is going to be, in answering the questions that you were just asked, does any of the questions, do they change what happened on the night of November 6th?
Objection is no purpose.
The answer is obviously no.
Well, well, you're not
Nothing is,
when you say it's obviously no, it doesn't mean.
the question goes without asking, without saying. You can't change what happened in the past. Ask question number 2. It's an irrelevant question.
One moment, Your Honor. As you sit here on that witness stand, answering questions, isn't it true that with every question you've been asked, you have been thinking, how is my answer going to impact whether or not that man is convicted? Yes or no?
No.
All right, folks, thank you again for staying over. We'll resume tomorrow at 10:30. Please don't discuss the case amongst yourself or anybody else. And we will resume tomorrow. I mean, the things I've seen, I don't know how they could get more false. I'd admonish you, don't look at anything on the internet or read anything about this case. And one of the reasons is because you can't rely on what you're reading. So, okay, your decision in this case.
Please may raise your right hand. Thank you. You solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause and nothing before this court shall be the truth, and the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You please take a seat in the witness stand. Adjust the microphone there and state, spell your name over.
Kirk Anderson, KIRKANDERSON.
I forgot to mention this to you. The clock on the wall is getting worse. Yesterday, it was like 4 minutes off. Now it's about 7 minutes off. So we're not going by that clock. I got a wristwatch. We'll go by the wristwatch. And I have 10 minutes before.
About 5 more.
What?
Only about 5 more.
it's misleading. So we're gonna go by, and I'm sure all your watches, synchronize our watches. 10 minutes to 11. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Sir, would you start by telling the jury who you work for
I work for Los Angeles Police Department.
and how long have you been a police officer for?
A little over 9 years.
Which station were you working at in November of 2021?
Hollywood Police Station.
And on November 8th, 2021 specifically, were you working that day?
Yes,
What was your assignment that day at Hollywood Police Station?
I was working the front desk.
What does that mean when you say working the front desk?
It's a patrol time over to the desk where people come in and you take reports and help citizens out.
Would that literally mean you're sitting at kind of the front desk in the lobby of the police station?
Correct.
And the people that you're talking about, you take reports from, would those be citizens that walked in off the street to report crimes to you at the desk?
Yes,
On November 8th, 2021, did you interview a man by the name of Terrell Efron?
yes, I did.
And how is it that you came to interview him that day?
He walked into the lobby of the police station.
When he came in, was he alone or was he with anyone else?
He said he was with a lawyer. There was a man in a suit that was with him.
It's not just that he told you he was a lawyer, you also saw this man wearing a suit.
Yes,
Okay. And if you could tell the jury broadly, what was it that Mr. Efron was there to report?
he said he was a victim of a shooting and that he was shot by a known celebrity by the name of A$AP Rocky.
In addition to tell you that the person who had shot him was A$AP Rocky, did he tell you that person's true or legal name?
Yes, he did.
And what was that name that he gave?
Raheem Mayers.
Did Mr. Efron tell you how it was that he knew Mr. Mayers?
He said they known each other for about 15 years, and he was part of a group called A$AP Mob.
When you say he told you that, was that Mr. Efron telling you that only Mr. Mayers was part of it, or that both of them were part of that group?
That both of them were part of it.
Before we get to the actual shooting that Mr. Efron told you about, did Mr. Efron tell you about anything that happened just prior to the shooting between him and Mr. Mayers?
Efron said that he heard that A$AP Rocky was talking bad about him over the cell phone, and that was the day prior to the shooting.
Did Mr. Efron tell you that he specifically heard the defendant talking bad about him, or that he heard about the defendant talking bad about him?
He heard about the defendant talking about him.
So did he tell you that he heard words coming out of the defendant's mouth?
Objection to the leading, Your Honor. It's foundational.
Repeat.
Objection to the leading.
I don't recall specifically.
Did you document it in your report?
I did.
Would it refresh your memory to look at your report?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Your Honor. Almost cat habit. I'm gonna distract your attention. Does that refresh your memory to what Mr. Efron told you?
Yes.
And did he tell you that he specifically heard Mr. Mayers talking bad about him, or that he heard about Mr. Mayers talking bad about him?
He said that he heard Mr. Mayers was talking bad about him.
Okay. Did he give you any more information about how it was that he overheard that information?
He did not.
What did Mr. Efron tell you that he did after he heard Mr. Mayers talking bad about him?
He sent a text message to a friend that he said A$AP Rocky was being fake.
And did Mr. Efron tell you that that friend was a mutual friend of theirs, or just his own personal friend?
I believe it was a mutual friend.
Okay. Did Mr. Efron tell you where this encounter or incident first took place?
Yes, 6200 Hollywood Boulevard.
Are you at all familiar with 6200 Hollywood Boulevard?
I've driven by there. It's a major intersection area.
Is 6200 Hollywood Boulevard, is that a very large building in Hollywood?
Yes.
Takes up almost an entire city block, correct?
Correct.
Did Mr. Efron narrow down for you where at that building their initial encounter took place?
They said it was at the driveway.
Any more detail about what the driveway either led into?
I believe it was a parking garage.
Okay. Did Mr. Efron tell you when that meeting at the parking lot took place in reference to when the phone call was that he overheard where Mr. Mayers was talking bad about him.
Yes, the following day on November 6th at 10 p.m. is when they met in the driveway.
So, if I understand what you're saying correctly, Mr. Efron said he overheard this phone call, then the very next day is when the driveway incident took place?
Yes.
All right. Did he give you any specific date, day, or time when that meeting at the parking lot took place?
Yes, 10 p.m.
Do you remember the date?
November 6th.
And do you remember what day of the week that was?
I don't.
Would you have documented it in your report?
I don't believe the specific day is.
Okay. But November 6th of 2021?
Yes.
What did Mr. Efron tell you when he first got to that parking garage?
So when he got there, he saw ASAP Rocky, and he saw two mutual friends of his and ASAP Rocky. One he said his name was ASAP Hills, and the other one I believe goes by the name of 12B.
Did he tell you that those two men, Hills and 12B, were with Mr. Mayers?
Yes.
Okay, and then what was the next thing that he told you happened?
He said from about 5 to 10 feet away, ASAP Rocky pulled out a black handgun from his waistband and told him, "What's up now, pussy?"
Okay. What did he tell you happened immediately after that?
He then pointed the handgun at Efron and said, "I will kill you right now," approximately 2 to 3 times.
And then what did he tell you happened after that?
ASAP Hills and 12B tried to intervene and de-escalate the situation, and they all walked over together to the area of Selma and Vista Del Mar.
Did he tell you who, if anyone, was the first person to walk away?
They were in front of him when they were walking to that location.
When you say they, who are you talking about?
ASAP Rocky, ASAP Hills, and 12B.
All right. And what did Mr. Efron tell you he did after that first altercation at the parking garage?
Once they got to the area of Selma and Vista Del Mar, he said ASAP Rocky turned around and fired approximately 3 to 4 shots at Efron.
Okay. Before we get there, I want to go back to the parking garage really quickly. Did Mr. Efron tell you at any point that the defendant specifically pointed the handgun at him?
Yes.
He told you, or yes, that he did? What did he tell you with regard to that?
After he said, "What's up, pussy?" he pointed the handgun and he stated, "I will kill you right now," at it.
Okay. That was when he, okay, thank you. Where again did he tell you that the rounds were fired?
At the area of Selma and Vista Del Mar.
And how many shots did he tell you he believed were fired at?
Approximately 3 to 4.
Did he tell you whether he was struck by any of the gunfire?
Yes, he said he was struck in his left hand knuckles area.
When he walked into the police station, you had a chance to observe him, obviously, correct?
Yes,
Could you see any injury to his left hand knuckle area?
I did see an injury to his hand knuckles.
Okay. I'm going to show you what I previously marked as equals 17. You recognize it, see there?
Yes,
And does that appear consistent with the injuries that you saw to Mr. Efron?
It does.
Number 8? And you said that was to which of his hands?
his left hand.
Okay. After the gunshots were fired, what did Mr. Efron tell you happened next?
He said he ran off one direction and ASAP Rocky and others ran off another direction.
Where did Mr. Efron tell you that he went?
Eventually he made his way back to his hotel, the Lowe's Hotel in Hollywood.
Okay. What, if anything, did he tell you he did after he got to his hotel?
After he got to the hotel, he said approximately an hour later he came back to the scene of Selma and Vista Del Mar, and he said he collected 2 casings off the ground.
Did he tell you at all about documenting where he observed those 2 cartridge casings?
Yeah, he provided a photo of the casings on the street.
Did he actually show you a photo?
Yes.
Okay. You said Mr. Efron told you this happened on November 6th, but he was reporting it to you on November 8th, correct?
Yes.
Did you ask him specifically why he waited to the 2 days to report this to you?
He said he wanted to have a lawyer with him.
Did you ask what state he was living in at the time you were talking to him?
I don't recall.
Direct you to the top cover page of your report if that assists you in refreshing your recollection.
Yes.
What state did he say he was living?
New York?
And did you ask him specifically why he was in Los Angeles at that time?
I don't recall.
Okay. You said that Mr. Efron, at the time he walked into the police station on November 8th, he had 2 fired cartridge cases, correct?
Yes, he did.
Can you describe that in more detail for the jury?
It was 2 steel casings. It said 9mm Luger on each one.
How did he have
It was in a black plastic bag.
it? Okay. And did he physically give them to you?
He gave me the plastic bag and I took them out of the plastic bag.
What did you do with them after you received them?
It was booked as evidence, so I put them inside of an evidence envelope, and then I sealed it and wrote the information on the envelope.
When you say you booked it as evidence, what is that? Can you just describe for the jury what exactly that means?
So it gets sealed up. I write my name on the envelope. I write the contents inside of the envelope. And then it gets assigned a DR number, which is specific to this case. And then it goes inside of for that Wally police station, it goes inside of a closet where we store all the evidence.
Did you seal it before you stored it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna mark my next exhibit, Your Honor, 32. Is it usually labeled as envelope and its contents?
Yes.
And I'm gonna write 32 on the front and the bottom right-hand corner on this envelope. I'm gonna show you first the envelope and ask if you recognize what we see here.
Yes.
And what is this?
This is the envelope for where I seal the casings. That's the information I wrote on it.
Okay, and this would actually be the envelope you filled out that night, correct?
Correct.
It has your name on it, correct?
Yes.
And your badge or serial number?
Yes.
Okay. You said the date is on there, correct?
Correct.
And a description of the contents, correct?
Yes.
You also mentioned this number at the top right that's labeled DR number.
Yes.
Is that number that we see there 2106-18784?
It is.
Is that number unique within LAPD to this case specifically?
Yes, specifically just this case.
So there will be no other case in LAPD that also utilizes that?
Correct.
All right. Now, in addition to that number, the DR number that unique to this case, do you also assign a separate number to the items that you are receiving? Like an item number?
I don't understand.
Sure. When you book something into evidence, let's take more generally. In any case, would you agree with me that you or other people working on the case may, over the course of the case, book multiple items under one case number or DR number, correct?
Correct.
So let's say on the first day you collect one item and you book it, and on the second day you collect another item and you book that second item. Would the first item that you collect be booked as item number 1 under that DR number?
Yes, it would.
And then on the next day when you collect another item, would that be booked as item number 2 under this same DR number?
Yes.
Okay. When you did that in this case, what number did you assign to the casings that Mr. Efron provided to you?
Item number 1.
So both casings would be item number 1, correct?
Yes.
Now, once you go through that whole process that you talked about, receiving the item, packaging it, putting it in the envelope, sealing it, where does it go?
It goes in our evidence closet, and then the next day the evidence employee takes it and puts it in the evidence room.
Does it go to something within LAPD called the property division?
Yes.
And is it held there until it's needed any time in the future?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to open the envelope, if you would. Do you have a knife or any way to open it?
No.
Underneath.
I just made this pull up open.
I'll get the knife. I want to clean it. I'm gonna take out, would you agree with me that inside of the larger envelope, there's a smaller envelope?
Yes.
Okay. And it has a number 1 on it, correct?
Correct.
And it has the same unique DR number on it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Your Honor, can I call it my work? Okay. Officer Anderson, I'll put them on the Elmo here. Now, do these appear similar to the cartridge cases that you received that night?
Yes, they do.
Do you specifically remember exactly the cartridge cases that were given to you?
Yes,
You do, and are these those same exact cartridge cases?
they are.
Okay. Are you familiar with what's called a headstand on a cartridge case?
I'm not.
You're not. Are you familiar with kind of the words that are written on the back of the cartridge case?
Yes.
And in this case, what caliber of ammunition would these cartridge cases be?
9mm.
9mm Luger?
Yes.
Okay. So these are the same cartridge casings that Mr. Efron brought to you that you packaged up and booked into property division, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I got nothing else, Your Honor. I'm gonna, just for the record, I'm gonna put them back in the smaller envelope, then I'm gonna put the smaller envelope back into the larger.
Who wants to, question officer next? Take it off. All right. See you, right, brother.
Hello, Officer.
Come on.
We've never spoken before, right?
Correct.
Now, as a law enforcement officer, when you're interviewing someone making a complaint, you want to make sure your report is as complete and accurate as possible, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's because you understand that the report may be relied upon in the future at hearings or a trial like this one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on November 8th, 2021, you said you were working at the front desk at the Hollywood Police Station.
Yes.
And at 7:20 that day, Gerald Efron came into the station and made a complaint to you about lead shooting, right?
Yes.
And obviously, that's a serious complaint, right?
Correct.
So it's important for you to be as careful in taking down this information as possible, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we memorialize that information in our third report, correct?
Yes.
In fact, that report was reviewed and approved by your supervisor, Officer Dean, correct?
Correct.
Now, as detailed in your report, Mr. Efron told you about an incident, if you just described it, that occurred on November 6th, 2021, involving Mr. Mayers and 2 other people he identified as ASAP Ills and 12 people, right?
Yes.
Okay. And specifically, if you testified to this, Mr. Efron told you that as he was approached by Mr. Mayers pulled out a gun from 5 to 10 feet away. Is that what he told you?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, the first page of your investigative report has a pre-printed box, which is called weapon, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's for you to identify any weapon that a complainant reports to you, correct?
Correct.
Right. And you made a note in that report of a gun, right?
Yes.
Now, if a knife were involved in an incident, that's an important fact you would know, right?
Yes.
Right. And you didn't make any note of the knife in this case, either in that pre-printed box or in the narrative portion of your report, correct?
Correct.
And that's obviously because Mr. Efron, when reporting to you what happened, didn't tell you that 12 displayed a knife to him during the incident, right?
He did not.
Right. In fact, Mr. Efron made no mention of a knife being involved in this incident, correct?
Correct.
To the contrary, rather than displaying a knife, Mr. Efron told you that 12 actually attempted to de-escalate the situation. Is that right?
Yes.
And he told you that ASAP Ills also tried to de-escalate the situation, correct?
Yes.
Now, during your interview with Mr. Efron, he also told you that he returned to the scene of the incident approximately an hour later. Is that
Yes,
right? And he gave you those 2 shell casings that he claimed to recover from the scene, the ones we just saw, right?
yes,
I'm sorry.
Sustained is the word claim.
Okay. He gave you the 2 shell casings that he told you he recovered from the scene, right?
yes,
Just so it's clear, Mr. Efron told you to recover those shell casings about an hour after the incident on November 6th, 2021, right?
yes,
Okay. And he didn't give them to you until 2 days later, November 8th, 2021, right?
yes,
Now, after you received the shell casings from Mr. Efron, you requested that they be examined for latent prints.
I did.
And obviously, as an experienced law enforcement officer, you wouldn't have requested an examination that you knew would be useless. Am I correct?
Correct.
Right. So you requested that examination for latent prints because you understood that fingerprints can be lifted off shell cases, right?
Yes,
Right. Now, when speaking with Mr. Efron on November 8th, 2021, he told you that he had a small scrape on his left hand from the incident, right?
yes,
In fact, you saw a picture of it on the screen, right?
yes,
Okay. And after him telling you about that small scrape and you seeing it, you clearly didn't see a need to get him an ambulance or some type of medical treatment, right?
right,
In fact, at that time, on November 8th, 2021, you discussed with Mr. Efron if any medical treatment, what if any medical treatment he already received for that small scrape. You asked him about that, right?
yes,
And what he told you was, I just treated myself on the day of the COVID, right?
correct.
Now, you were asked by Mr. President about the reported statements that Mr. Efron made to you, right?
Yes,
Okay. And to be clear, when Mr. Efron made all of his statements to you, he had a civil lawyer standing next to him, right?
yes,
Now, you said you asked Mr. Efron why he waited 2 days to report the incident, and he told you it's because he wanted to have a lawyer present with him, right?
yes,
Okay. Did Mr. Efron tell you that another reason he waited to report the incident is because he was attempting to contact Mr. Mayor's quote-unquote people, including his manager, Mr. Mayor's manager, trying to get money before he even contacted a lawyer? Did he tell you that?
no,
In fact, Mr. Efron never told you that before coming to see you, meaning before he made his report to the police, that he had already texted a screenshot of the scraped fingers to Mr. Mayor's manager with messages saying that he, Mr. Efron, was getting rich. He never told you that, right?
no,
I'm asking if it was told you. And the answer was he never conveyed that to you, right?
correct.
Right. In fact, Mr. Efron also did not tell you that before coming to the police, he had already sent a text message to his own business associate saying, quote, I want to get this N-word's money, referring to Mr. Mayor's. He never told you that either, right?
Right.
And Mr. Efron also did not tell you that before making his report to the police, before he came to you, Mr. Mayor's texted him that Mr. Efron was trying to extort him, that Mr. Efron should stop calling Mr. Mayor's manager, and that Mr. Efron should call the police. He never told you any of that, did he?
He did not.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything right.
Thank you.
How long did you estimate your interview of Mr. Efron was?
Approximately maybe 20 minutes.
And included in that 20 minutes, you've got some of that time of you actually writing down or documenting things on your report.
Yes,
Is your report a verbatim transcript of what Mr. Efron told you or a summary?
a summary.
The gun that Mr. Efron reported was pointed at him. Did he tell you what kind of gun it was? Meaning, was it a revolver or semi-automatic?
He just said black-handed.
Okay. Did you document something in your report that it was a specific type of gun?
I have to review the report.
What did he tell you?
It was a semi-automatic.
Okay. You were asked about latent fingerprints. How many times are you aware of latent fingerprints being lifted off of cartridge cases?
I wouldn't know the answer.
I mean, have you ever received a latent print report documenting fingerprints on fire cartridge cases yourself personally?
No.
Okay. I have nothing else.
There you are. All right, thank you, Officer Anderson.
Thank you.
Next witness.
My next witness is Detective Flores.
Thank you. So the state that the testimony you may give in the cause not been this way. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Please take a seat on the witness stand there. Again, please state. This guy you think is
Yes. My name is Frank, F-R-A-N-K.
Last name is Flores, Flores.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, would you tell the jury what your occupation and assignment are?
Yes, I'm a detective with Los Angeles Police Department, assigned to a robbery homicide division.
Were you also in that assignment in November of 2021?
Yes, I was
How long have you been a police officer for?
just over 29 years now.
Were you one of the assigned detectives on the case?
Yes,
Why, whether or not he thought that the person in the video was Relly.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's see how-
My offer of proof is they were going to explain their further investigative steps, why they collected the video they did and didn't. That was why I was.
So is that offered to prove that the person in the video is Relly? It's being offered to prove,
His belief.
to show why Detective Flores did what he did?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Well, the videos they collected before he came to the initial conclusion that it was Relly. So they didn't go collect the videos because he realized it wasn't Relly. The videos they collected were all collected from the outset, everyone. And after that, at the preliminary hearing, for example, he testified, yes, that's Relly. I believe that's Relly. They already told me that's Relly. So what was just proper as an offer of proof, Your Honor, was that I should be able to ask him that question, but explain their further investigative steps.
You should ask him what question. You should be able to ask him what question.
No. They just said, they should be asking that question, because they just said to you, they promised to you that the reason they should ask him that question, should be able to ask that question, is because explain their further investigative steps, i.e., go get the videos. The videos got controlled. They got no additional videos after they came to a conclusion initially that lasted up until the preliminary hearing in the 30s, that was relevant. So they didn't take any additional further steps once they changed their opinion or their mind. They changed their mind based on his testimony, obviously. But in 2023, under oath, this detective, who I think is a nice guy, said under oath that yes, I did it in trouble. They didn't take any additional investigative steps after that. So that doesn't explain investigative steps. You made a ruling on it. What you're looking for, what?
No, you're saying he didn't take any additional
There
investigation.
was nothing else. There was no videos to collect. You just said,
What's the next thing he did? After,
No, he's exactly making the point that I want to make, which is they did believe that was Terrell up until very.
Okay, so
they
what's
couldn't
the-
have gone back to go.
so what did Detective Flores then do, based on his belief that was Relly?
But he stopped collecting video at that point. He thought, okay, we have him here, that's him on the video, we don't need any more video passes. Fast forward to piecing together other information, details from timestamps, that he now knows, oh, we didn't collect enough video, we should have collected more, because that could have captured him.
I've heard from both of you, here's the rule. It's, the offer proof is a fair game. You can ask the question, Mr. Tacopina, and you can follow it up with, are you gonna cross-examine him, or is this? Say again?
yes,
Guess what?
yes, I'm.
Oh, you are? All right,
Yes.
you can follow it up.
Thanks.
All right, Detective,
Can I talk to them for 1 second? Again, I asked court, on counsel, that, I asked court for about 15 or 20 minutes between the direct and cross, 12. I'm just letting you, Judge, I'm just letting you guys.
I don't think we get in trouble today. Because we have, we go to 4 minutes, right? I have a decent hour.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, I think it's fun where we are now.
all right, so after the detective is the firearms person?
Yes, you can be ready tomorrow.
Is he, and he's your last key witness?
Yes.
All right, so,
But that won't matter.
we'll get to the investigation tomorrow.
Yeah, after that, of course, yeah. Wait a minute, Your Honor, because I thought you made a ruling, and I changed my whole course at lunchtime, so now I have to unchange my course, so give me a minute, please.
Let me know when you're ready for this. How much longer do you have on your examination? About, just rough, you know,
I honestly think about an hour. I have this and then the search warrant and then, you know. I have this thing I want to talk to them about before we go back on pretty early, so. I don't have plenty of time. I just need a second.
Go ahead. This is, understood the, involves. Really small about
This has. So, I'm just suggesting that now I can hear it goes to him and he opens it.
Just so you know, oh, by the way, why- I thought it's very slow.
Never mind, I'll do that. Sorry.
Why do you do that?
I never had any.
All right. I thought that might be letting me.
You make this, you think I'm
That
bad?
is- that is
I'm
right.
not bad.
I need the rest of it. I'll go for it. Oh, yeah, right. What's the drawing out there?
Yeah, I heard of it.
I didn't see it, he was sitting there, so
You know who it was?
no, I didn't see it, but I just was like,
No, who the lawyer was?
no, I think he's not a prosecutor.
Do you know who it was?
No, I don't know.
I heard of it. Just relative to it?
No interaction, no
Talk about, let's see about something unrelated. Fine. Jurors are present, all parties to counsel are present. Detective Soares is on stand, and Mr. Lowe.
Hollywood Boulevard business. This information is LAPD Detective Frank Flores, Carlos Camacho, and Luis Maria, along with LAPD Technical Investigations Division Technician Harry Nugent. They downloaded surveillance video from the security office at the property management company for the business located at 6200 Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood. The security office maintains security cameras on Argyle Avenue and on El Centro Avenue. The video was originally recorded between 10 p.m. on November 6, 2021 and 1 a.m. on November 7, 2021. The surveillance video contained People's Exhibit 15 is a true and correct copy of that video. The system, video, date, and timestamp are approximately 2 to 3 minutes faster than actual time. You can simulate.
So, is anybody that?
Yes, sir. I've spoken before.
Yes,
Had,
we have.
you know, witness and preliminary hearing in November 2023, right?
Correct.
By the way, let's just start out where you finished off. You had some questions about when you personally were made aware of one of the issues raised by the defense of Mr. Mayor's being in possession of a property. And you said it was fairly recently before the trial started, right?
Yes,
Okay. Obviously, you never spoke to Mr. Mayor's from the day the incident until today.
correct.
You never spoke to 12E from the day the incident until today.
Correct.
All right, you never spoke to Blue 11 from the day the incident, correct?
Correct.
All right. You certainly don't know what Mr. Mayor with Rocky has told his attorneys several years ago.
I'm not aware.
And of course, you know, there's no depositions in criminal cases, correct?
Correct.
So basically what you're being asked are questions related to discovery disclosure in criminal case, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. One second. All right, sir. So you were assigned to investigate this case, I think it was November 9th
November 9th.
of 2021, all the detectives, Michael Matthew, correct?
Correct.
And you've been sitting here in court every day at the trial watching everybody's.
For the most part, yes.
For the most part, yeah. And as the detective assigned to this case, you're familiar with all the police reports generated in connection with this case.
Yes.
And because police reports are relied on at hearings and trials like this one, as a case detective, you want to ensure that those reports are as complete and accurate as possible, right?
Yes, I mean, they are a summary of the information gathered. But there are other parts of the information that's gathered to go along with that, recordings, interviews, stuff like that, but it's a summary.
Sure. But you want that summary to be as accurate as possible. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And as a case detective, you spoke with other officers with knowledge about this case as part of your investigation.
Yes, we did.
And obviously, it's pertaining to this incident.
Correct.
So what we talked about just saying, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. 16 East Belmar is one, right?
Yes.
6200 Hollywood is Hollywood Boulevard.
Yes.
Hollywood Boulevard is another. Yes, sir.
Correct.
And you retrieved the East Belmar video on November 9th, 2021.
That's correct.
Okay. And the Hollywood Boulevard video, I think it was a few weeks later, November 18th.
I believe that is correct.
Now, on November 8th, 2021, law enforcement received 2 9mm Luger shell casings from Mr. Efron.
Correct, for the initial crime report, yes.
Yes. And those shell casings were submitted to the fingerprint analysis lab about 2 weeks later on November 21st, 2020.
I believe that's when they were tested, yes.
You're familiar that the fingerprints can typically be left behind on bullets when they're touched and loaded in a firearm, right?
There is always a possibility anything that's touched can leave a fingerprint or trace behind.
So the answer is yes, they can, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the latent print lab, the LAPD latent print lab completed its fingerprint analysis of those 2 shell casings on November 23rd, 2020.
That sounds correct.
And after examining the casings provided by Mr. Efron's law enforcement lifted exactly 0 fingerprints off them, correct?
That's right. 0 prints for the.
So there were no fingerprints of anyone on those shell casings.
That's correct.
On April 20th of 2022, so we're fast forwarding a little bit, you secured a search warrant to obtain DNA swabs from Mr. Mayor's.
Correct. That was included in the search warrant for that date that it was executed.
Right. And in order to obtain that search warrant, you swore to a judge that DNA from Mr. Mayor's was clearly necessary for analysis for probable cause purposes as well as evidential purposes.
Yes, to include potential evidence that could be in custody or that could be collected at some point during the investigation. A comparison can be made. If any evidence that we have or collect along the way can be compared to.
Correct. And after getting the search warrant for Mr. Mayor's DNA, you took samples of his saliva on April 20th, 2022.
Yes, as part of that arrest, there were samples taken.
Right. And although you affirmed that DNA was clearly necessary as part of the case, law enforcement never submitted anything for DNA analysis in this case.
Correct. We didn't collect or have anything further to compare it to, at least to this point. Correct.
The alleged altercation between Mr. Efron and Mr. Mayor's took place on November 6, 2021, around 10:17 p.m. physical altercation lasted about 25 seconds, that whole thing.
Roughly,
Roughly. According to you, based on your knowledge from the investigation and your review of the videos in this case, after leaving the scene of the altercation at around 10:17, Mr. Efron initially claimed he returned to the scene at around 11:09 p.m.
You object as to, vague as to what he's talking about when you said from previous.
They don't act as 11:09, give a minute.
yes, sir, I'm not sure about the exact time, but I think he roughly said within an hour of the incident.
Would you agree it's somewhere around the events of that time, 11:09? Okay, go to the plenary hearing on, just read the question and answer.
I'm objecting proper repeating.
I'm trying not to be
I don't see it as being impeached. Why don't you tell, just clarify what it was that,
Mr. Efron told you 52 minutes more later, he came back to the scene, correct?
I don't recall him saying the exact time, I do recall him saying roughly within an hour after the initial incident.
And you got that from watching the videos, correct?
On first review, yes, that's what I believe was consistent.
And I understand your testimony is now changed to say you don't think it's in, but initially, you certainly thought that person you saw was in
Yes,
at 11:09, right?
yes, that was my belief.
Okay. And to you, at least, that was Mr. Efron on the videos,
That was my belief because it was consistent with the time frame that he provided.
right? Was consistent with what Mr. Efron told officers.
Correct, within the hour estimate.
And that person, whoever that person was, Mr. Efron initially said was in, we believe it was in initially, leaves the scene at 11:11 p.m., 2 minutes later.
Roughly,
Object, the first part of the discussion seems back on evidence.
No, it's not gonna happen.
sorry, stop, do the question back to you.
And that person, whoever that person was, Mr. Efron initially said it was him. Let me read it again.
I can approach her, I'm trying not to just speak in there.
I frankly don't remember this.
You weren't so comfortable, I'm not really down, I'm not right. I'm just saying initially, he said it was in, that's what my question was, I know now it's changed, well, Mr. Efron, okay. But initially, he said it was in, so whoever that person was, I started my question out with, who Mr. Efron initially said was in, left the scene 2 minutes later.
I don't know if it's evidence or not. I can't remember every single.
You just said it.
I would, then I would change the character to being argumentative. If he wants to ask, did that person leave within 2 minutes, I have a problem with that. But we don't need the argumentative part getting to that question.
You're on, hold on, can I do this? Did Mr. Efron initially say that that was it?
I don't recall if he used those words exactly. I believe he made a comment that may have indicated that. But
Well, for instance, did you were here when he testified at the trial?
correct,
Do you remember when he said at this trial from the jury that he was sure that that was him?
yes,
Okay. So, just a week ago, or a few days ago, Mr. Efron said that was him, correct?
correct,
So whoever that person was, that person that Mr. Efron swore was him to this jury initially, left 2 minutes later.
roughly within 2 minutes, that person left.
Objection to the prompt? That's great.
Yes. And to be clear, you observed all the video footage that was recovered in this case.
Yes,
So if that is not, the new position is not Mr. Efron, or at least you don't think it's Mr. Efron. Based on your testimony today, you have absolutely no video showing Mr. Efron ever returning to the scene, correct?
correct.
Now, amongst the video you reviewed in this case was a body cam footage, one by officers at the scene who responded to that, correct?
Correct.
You watched that? Yes. okay.
Yes.
And you are aware, before Mr. Efron or whoever that person was returned to the scene 52 minutes later, law enforcement had arrived.
Yes,
And certainly before, if Mr. Efron returned to the scene, certainly before Mr. Efron returned to the scene, law enforcement had arrived.
correct.
And the police arrived at the scene about 18 minutes after the incident.
Yes, roughly.
And there were at least 7 officers there.
Yes,
And while they were at the scene of the incident, 18 minutes after it ended, at least 7 officers were canvassing the area.
Yes, they were walking in and about the area of Selma and this and more.
And you saw them on video searching the area of the location?
Yes, adjacent parking lot, yes,
Using the flashlights,
correct,
looking on the ground, you saw them.
yes.
I know you know this answer, you've been asking that way. You know law enforcement did not cover any cases in this case, correct?
Correct, the officer responded did not find or cover any case.
No officers ever covered any shell cases.
No.
Right?
No, you're asking from the radio call, the officer responded initially? No.
Yes. Or any other police officers cover any cases from the scene?
Only the officer at the front desk that, who took the casings.
Yeah, my question's from the scene.
Okay, no, not from the scene.
In fact, they didn't locate any sign of shooting, correct?
Correct, other than the radio call.
Right. Good. That's a call. And you heard, okay, these are testified, I think, sorry, these are now. You heard testified. A lot of people make calls or they can just perfect things, correct? You heard that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of reasons, sometimes people are just not, don't stick around after.
But in any event, you do agree that the officers who arrived 18 minutes later didn't locate any sign of shooting.
That's correct.
And despite that, as shown on the video, after the police left and Mr. Efron returned to the scene, he supposedly located the shell casings by himself without a flashlight within minutes.
I believe he said he used the Lion's phone and he located it.
Within minutes.
Yes,
You were in this courtroom when Mr. Efron testified that this individual named Twelby had a knife on this incident, right?
yes,
And you're familiar with a summary investigative report related to this case dated August 5th, 2022, sir? Yes?
yes, I am.
And that's a collective sort of prior statements and a summary of the investigation overall.
That is a specifically, that was a violent summary.
And that's what you use to file a case with the district attorney's office.
Correct.
So obviously, in that report, you certainly wouldn't want there to be any accuracies, right?
Correct. It just, as it relates to the crime, yes, correct.
That's what relates to the crime.
Yes, sir.
Your name is on that report, right, sir?
My name is on the report.
And what you wrote in the last line, the first page of this report, the collective statements, is that the victim observed Ulunga in ASAP Hills was armed with a knife. You read that?
I didn't author this report.
Is it in that report?
It is in that report.
Okay. So some police officer wrote that.
Yes,
Who, you
I
know?
believe that was my partner, Victor Connor.
Where'd he go? He used to be there, right?
He was in the back of the car.
He's gone. But he was there.
Yeah, he's there.
He's right. And it was brought to your attention during the preliminary hearing on November 20th, 2023, that this report said Mr. Efron identified ASAP Hills as the one armed with a knife. We discussed that in the preliminary hearing, sir.
Yes, sir.
And if you thought that that report was inaccurate, you certainly could have asked for that to be changed at any point, correct?
Yes, sir. I mean, but honestly, yes, that was a mistake. And, but the prior interviews that were recorded of Mr. Efron from the telephonic interview on the 9th and the in-person interview on December 17th, 2021, yeah, he was consistent on both interviews that the person with the knife was, in fact, Wally. The report prepared for that August filing, there was an error and it did indicate the wrong person. That is correct.
Well, as I just asked you, if you thought that report was inaccurate, you could have asked that to be changed, correct?
Yes.
And you never did.
No, I answered your question. I mean, it's, the record, I think, believe, captured for the interviews is clear what Mr. Efron said versus what our mistake was.
No, it's not like a question. Did you change your report?
No, we did not generate another report. Correct.
So, and you were here obviously last Tuesday, January 28th, when Mr. Efron testified on the record. So, I being held after Rocky put the alleged gun, correct?
Correct.
All right. And with regard to the knife, Mr. Efron told police in November of 2021 that he saw the knife being held while Rocky was pointing the alleged gun at him, and he was on Rocky, right?
Correct. I believe that's the way it was described in that crime report.
So while Rocky's holding the alleged gun at him and pointing it at him, he's seeing a knife simultaneously.
He's seen it during that event, correct?
That's what that event. While the gun is being pointed at him, correct?
That's the way it's described in the report, yes, sir.
You also heard Mr. Efron's testimony last Tuesday, January 28th, that he saw the knife being put away, and he then said, "What the F you got a knife for?" You remember that testimony last week?
Yes, sir.
And in November of 2021, Mr. Efron told police that only after he said, "Why you got a knife?" did that knife get put away. Recall that?
I don't recall that specifically, sir.
I'll show you.
Okay.
It's 77 in our database. It's please follow the investigation report from November 9th, 2021.
The objection is the same.
It's improper.
This is not the proper person to either refute or confirm what Relly, Efron told some other officer. So the objection is the same. One second.
Your Honor, move on. Anyway, you saw an arrest warrant on Mr. Mayor's on April 13th, 2022.
Correct, that's the date it was signed.
And to be clear, law enforcement received Mr. Efron's complaint 5 months earlier, November 8th, 2021.
When we received it, it would have been the 9th, it was, the initial report was taken on the 8th, correct?
8th or the 9th, but 9th of November 2021, you guys, PD, like the station house guy, November 8th, right?
Correct.
On that same day, law enforcement received November 8th, 2 9mm Luger casings from Mr. Efron.
Correct.
The next day, you along with Detective Camacho and we spoke to Mr. Efron again at length.
Yes, telephone.
By the way, that same day, November 9th, Mr. Efron told you he decided not to become involved in Rocky's music business any longer. You say that?
And I believe the same as last time.
And also on November 9th, 2021, law enforcement received surveillance video pertaining to the incident from 1616 East Belmont
Correct.
and Hollywood Boulevard on November 18th.
Yes.
6200. And on November 10th, 2021, law enforcement obtained authorization to search T-Mobile information for Elijah Lunger or ASAP Bill's phone number.
Correct, research motion.
Sorry.
Yes.
And specifically, the T-Mobile information law enforcement obtained authorized to search Elijah Lunger, ASAP Bill's, his call detail records and his GPS location.
Correct.
And the GPS location data, I should say.
Yes.
And those records, the GPS location data that you all were able to obtain, show that Elijah Lunger, ASAP Bill's cell phone, was near Selma Avenue in East Belmar approximately 10:12 p.m. on November 6th.
I believe that's right.
And those records also show that Bill's chauffeur, so it's a little bit, ASAP Bill's cell phone was near Mr. Mayor's residence at 11 p.m. That's later that night.
Yes, that's called the after this.
In addition to law enforcement gaining access, by the way, you also gained access to Mr. Efron's cell phone, correct?
Subsequent to his arrest, the physical phone, yes.
Yes.
No.
No, Mr. Efron.
Oh, I'm sorry. Correct, he did, voluntarily.
Right, that was in November 2020.
Yes.
Correct. So you had access to his phone.
Yes, we did.
By the way, did he mention that he had deleted any messages before you had that phone?
I don't remember asking him specifically if he had.
So he volunteered?
I don't recall him as volunteer.
Particularly with the guy who was making the complaint about this guy, ASAP he mentioned that he had deleted messages between him.
Correct, nothing was volunteered as far as that.
And you wouldn't know to ask that, obviously, right?
He was cooperating and provided his phone.
You wouldn't know to ask that, he said.
I wouldn't know. Right.
And the information on that phone contained Mr. Efron's communications, as far as you knew, with Mr. Mayers, with Bills, and 12.
Correct.
And as of November 2021, law enforcement had Mr. Efron's statement, 1, correct?
Correct.
Cell phone records, 2, yes.
I believe so, by that.
Video of the incident,
Some of it is correct.
well, which video did you not have by the end of November 2021?
At the end of November, correct, I touched November 17th, but that's.
No. So this last video you got on November 8th, right? Correct. So let's again. In the month of November 2021, the collective police officers and law enforcement had Mr. Efron's statement. Yes.
Yes, sir.
You had cell phone records in this case.
Yes.
You had video of the incident.
Correct.
And you had 2 shell cases provided by Mr. Efron.
Correct.
But you still waited another 5 months until April 2022 to arrest Mr. Mayers.
Yes, I mean, there were other factors involved.
Yes, or yes.
Yes.
And during those 5 months, from November 2021 until Mr. Mayer's arrest in April of 2022, law enforcement recovered nothing else, no additional evidence to use against Mr. Mayers, correct?
Correct.
In fact, during those 5 months, law enforcement never contacted 12E, never tried to find 12E or contacted, correct?
No, we were able to contact him.
Able, did you try?
No, I'm sorry, at that point, no.
Okay. And you understood that 12E was present during the incident, obviously?
Correct. We understood they were present during the whole appointment.
Now, obviously, you would be a potential witness in this case.
Could
Who's that?
we- Yes, sir?
And you testified as the case detective, it's your job to look for all relevant information, right?
Correct.
So to be clear, you arrested Mr. Mayers without even trying to speak to Toby.
Sustained.
Let's now move over to the house search that you conducted. Okay, so this was on April 21st, you conducted the extensive search of Mr. Mayers' residence, right?
Yes, April 2022.
And during the search, aside from what we all saw, and we'll get into that when we ask you about those things, you also saw boxes in his residence, right?
I'm sorry?
Boxes, like corporate boxes.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna just show you a picture of these things. You want to, I guess, we'll identify them as we go through the exhibit to each one.
Oh, these are not remarked.
Correct.
All right, your next exhibit is W is Willie.
Is it easier for you to see back there, or do you just read it?
It's easier to see.
Okay, so you can turn around. This is W form?
Yes, W.
Okay. That's one of the photos you see. Vince acting in cardboard boxes there.
Correct.
Did you learn whether or not Mr. Mayers was in the process of moving this morning?
I was not aware that he was in the process.
How about the next one is? That would be defense.
X, that's an X-ray.
You see those boxes there?
Yes, I do.
By the way, could I go back to the last photo, the W, I think? Those cardboard boxes that you see in this photo, did you search those?
The closed boxes, no.
I'm gonna just look for, I know you said yes. Closed boxes. Did you say? Oh, closed boxes.
Yes,
Oh, I did
sealed
say
boxes.
closed, okay, closed. Closed boxes, sealed, okay. So you did not search those?
No.
Okay, next, please. No, those, less. Okay, this one too. Did you search any of those bags or boxes there?
I don't recall going through them myself. I know the rooms that were gone through.
I'm sorry?
I did not go through that room myself. I don't recall going through that room. But I know each room was searched by part of the team.
So if that room was searched and those boxes were searched, would there be a report on that?
If there was anything, again, found relative to the investigation, items that we were highlighting, in the list, yes.
Well, you agree that those sealed boxes obviously weren't searched, right?
Correct.
The next one, please, which would be defense.
Y as in young.
Wise and young. Same thing here, wise and young, that's what's in that box wasn't searched right there, correct?
Correct.
All right. Next,
C is in zebra.
please and zebra. Those suitcases, were they opened and searched, do you know?
I don't recall specifically from my memory.
Next,
AA, Adam.
AA. Same question. The
Correct.
sealed boxes were not opened and searched, correct?
Correct.
Is that it?
One more.
One more.
BB.
A lot of colors and a lot of things there, but any of these sealed boxes that you see in the photo there?
No, sir.
They were not searched. And during the search, law enforcement did not recover a 9mm firearm, correct?
That's correct.
You did recover a Glock 9mm magazine,
That's correct.
and it was full, correct?
Yes, those capacity 6 rounds.
Did you ever take the prints off of that magazine?
No.
You never printed that magazine?
No.
You're capable of doing that, correct?
Yes, sir. Since it came from his bedroom, I didn't have the process.
Okay. And there were six Sig Bluebird 9mm cartridges, right?
In the magazine?
Yeah, in
Yes.
the magazine, right? The 9mm cartridges were not loose or anything, inside that magazine. And that 9mm magazine, those six cartridges in the box, they were found in the box containing other magazines and other cartridges that were not 9mm.
That's correct.
We showed the pictures. So what I'm going to do today, I'm just going to show you real quickly something that you've already seen, but you may have seen too. Just the pictures of the two shell cases that were covered by Mr. Efron, and the six shell cases were covered inside the magazine. So the ones on the left, there, I would say C. Is it what?
This is the sensitive.
It is, right?
Okay, this is gonna be CC, Charlie Charlie.
Okay, CC. So the ones on the left, right there, so yes, those are the SIG Luger 9mm cartridges.
Yes, these are the live rounds that were recovered from the magazine, the container of the magazine.
Okay. And those are different cartridges. Obviously, the brand of the one on the right is what's called FC or Federal.
Yeah, FC Luger.
Right.
On the right are the spent casings,
Right. And SIG is the other one.
and the live rounds are SIG, I'm sorry, SIG.
6 hour?
6 hour Luger.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Okay. You also recovered, was it 2 rifle magazines?
Correct.
As part of your investigation, you learned that Mr. Mayers was licensed to possess firearms. As part of your investigation, did you learn whether or not Mr. Mayers was licensed to carry firearms?
Also, yes or no? No, guys, but I heard he did.
You did, okay. And, those 2,
Sustain, the answer's true.
and the 2, the one gun, what was it called? You know the name of that 44 Magnum? Desert Eagle. Desert Eagle. That was Mr. Mayers, that was registered to Mr. Mayers.
Correct.
Registered to Mr. Mayers.
Yes, Jack is again, both figures.
And the rifle is also registered to Mr. Mayers.
Same objection. Overruled. That's right.
Okay. Being legally registered to him, correct?
Yes, all those weapons are registered.
And the other weapon, gun, whatever you call it, that was recovered was the shotgun.
It's a shot.
And that was registered to an individual named Lou Levin.
I don't remember who specifically registered to, but it was a legal.
It was a legal weapon.
Correct.
Also, all 3 were legal weapons.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, that shotgun was given back to its rightful owner before he left the scene, correct?
I don't recall that Mr. Levin took it. That's just my recollection.
Okay, so, well, what would refresh your recollection?
I don't know if there's any, obviously, Mr. Levin took possession of the house when he left, he took charge of the house, and what he removed after that, I'm not aware.
Okay. You said, oh, he removed, I'm talking about what you removed. You removed the 2 guns registered to Mr. Mayers, correct?
No.
You saying you left them in the house?
Yes,
You sure about that?
yes.
So you left those 2, the Magnum and the rifle in the house.
Yes,
And obviously the shotgun you left there as well.
yes, those are all legal weapons,
All
and
legal.
not part of what our search warrant encompasses.
Okay, okay. By the way, you never asked Mr. Efron if he had firearms back in November of 2021, did you?
I don't recall asking him, like, he would call making inquiries as far as runs or checks. And I don't recall finding a gun registered to him during that period of time.
We're on the read for preliminary hearing, page 271 line.
What purpose is this hearing?
Impeachment, you just said don't full ask.
It would be, it's not impeachment, it's a refresh.
Just volume 1 or volume 2? What's the page?
Page 271, Your Honor, lines 2 through 4.
Just set the floor testifying?
Sorry, yes.
What line?
2 through 4.
Fair game.
I'm gonna,
It's fair game.
Okay,
No.
You were asked,
You follow it up if you want.
did you ever ask Mr. Efron if he had firearms back in 2021? Answer, not specifically. Now, you were here, the other day when it was revealed that Mr. Efron was on a firing range in Los Angeles in late October 2021, correct?
Correct.
By the way, the search of the house had 21 officers, more or less.
More or less.
When you spoke to Mr. Efron on November 9th, 2021, Mr. Efron told you that he believed he was grazed on his left hand knuckle area.
Objection, facts, and negatives.
I'm sorry? He did not lie?
You have to inquire whether he said that. You're saying when the detective spoke to him, it assumes that that's what Efron said. So ask him if Efron said that.
Okay, this is close. Okay. So on November 9th, 2021, did Mr. Efron tell you that he believed he was grazed on his left knuckle area?
Yes.
And despite supposedly being grazed by a bullet on November 6, 2021, Mr. Efron did not seek medical attention until returning to you.
That's my understanding, yes.
And even though Mr. Efron waited to fly across country to receive medical treatment, obviously there are hospitals in Los Angeles that could have treated him, this injury, whoever it was.
Yes, sir.
The fact is, Mr. Efron only went to the hospital after Detective Menifee on November 9, 2021, during a phone call, told him that he needs to go get medical attention or medically treated because of the type of case that this is, correct?
Objection, calls for cessation.
Okay, Your Honor, there's in evidence that I'll play portion of that. You have to look.
I would object to your side.
In evidence.
The jury's already heard, so
It's evidence.
technically, it is hearsay, go on to something else. The jury's already heard it. You play it, you find argument.
Okay, did you hear it? Did you hear it?
I remember the comment, I can remember that line of questioning, and I think I made a comment prior to that as well.
Okay.
And I think in the context that he was making a comment about his injury, and I think I also suggested he should get looked at, and I think that's when Detective Menifee also made her statement.
Her statement was that he needs to go get medical treatment because of the type of case that this is, correct?
I believe that's the context.
And with regard to his statements, Mr. Efron first reported this incident to the police. Again, just to be clear, 2 days later, November 8, 2021.
Correct.
He didn't call 911.
Yep.
He didn't go to the police on November 6, 2021.
That's correct.
Waited 2 days before reporting to law enforcement.
Yes, sir.
And when he did finally walk to a police station in Los Angeles to report to law enforcement, he did so in person with his attorney, Brian Hurwitz.
Yes.
And you were here last week when Mr. Efron testified on cross-examination that he did not recall telling law enforcement that he told him, attorney Brian Hurwitz, who told him to retrieve the shell casings from the scene. Are you here, sir?
Object, Mr. Bellman.
You hear what he said that?
I believe that was.
But when Mr. Efron reported the incident to the police, he did, in fact, make that claim. Correct. He told the police that after the alleged shooting, he called attorney Brian Hurwitz, and that Mr. Hurwitz told him to return to the scene of the altercation and retrieve the shell casings. Do you remember that?
Read back, please.
When Mr. Efron reported the incident to the police, he did in fact make that claim, correct? He told the police that after the alleged shooting, he called attorney Brian Horowitz, and that Mr. Horowitz told him to return to the scene of the altercation and retrieve the shell casings.
What's the legal name?
He told you that Brian Hurwitz, his attorney, instructed him to return to the scene to retrieve the shell casings, correct?
I'm trying to recall the exact context. I know he made several calls, and he was giving advice to go back. I don't remember the sequence of phone calls with Mr. Horowitz.
Okay, let's see if I can refresh your recollection. I'm going to show you your report. Okay. 75 is the August 5th, 2022.
Is this the first page?
Second page.
So we're,
Yeah. I don't see this.
object as to who we approach.
Anything can be used to refresh recollection.
Your Honor, you've already ruled on this, that's my issue. I don't want to do speaking objection, you want to just faithfully approach.
Yes.
Having read that, does it refresh your recollection that Mr. Efron mentioned that he was told by his attorney to return to the scene of the location and retrieve evidence?
Yes, that's not what that even says, Your Honor, and you're correct.
You want to read it verbatim? You just said yes, first of all. That's
Did you answer yes? The answer is yes. Go on, so the objection overruled.
okay. You and Detective Matthew eventually interviewed Mr. Efron's attorney, Brian Hurwitz, on March 22nd.
Objection to all of this.
Sustained.
In any event, law enforcement secured Mr. Efron's phone records from the night of the incident, November 6, 2021.
Correct.
And the incident happened at 10:17 p.m. Less than I think we've established 25 seconds more or less. Sir,
Yes, roughly from one incident to the second incident to the end.
and as you say, Mr. Efron, an individual returned to the scene at 11:09, correct?
Correct, based on the video camera.
Based on video camera. And you'd agree, by the way, that Mr. Efron's phone records do not show a single call between him and Brian Hurwitz between 10:17 and 11:09.
Not that I recall, no, sir.
And in fact, Mr. Hurwitz's phone number, which is, we're not going to say it out loud here, appears in Mr. Efron's phone records on November 10th, 2021 at 12:19 p.m. LA time.
I'm not sure about the exact date, objectives.
So,
I'm not exactly sure about the date and time of that first call with Mr. Hurwitz on that line.
okay. Do you want to stick with it and show the report? Not. I was, you know, on the report, on factions. Let's just see if I can speed this along. Do you remember, in search of Mr. Efron's phone records, there not being called to Mr. Hurwitz until a few days later?
I recall some point after, yes.
Yeah.
Correct,
All right, that's fine.
at least directly, that show up directly.
But certainly not on November 6th, going to morning, November 7th.
Again, nothing direct.
Correct, as opposed to indirect.
A three-way call, somebody, three-way call, anything like that.
Did you see any indication of three-way call on the phone?
I don't know that it would necessarily reflect three-way calls, just a direct call to somebody. But again, not that I'm aware of.
Well, did you see any calls between time of 10:17 and 11:09, for example? in San Rafael?
I don't recall seeing any calls between the time.
As detective, you agree, when conducting an investigation of an alleged shooting, you wouldn't want anyone who's not law enforcement moving evidence or taking evidence from the scene, right?
Correct.
Because that could tamper with and hinder your investigation.
It can.
Now, you interviewed Mr. Efron's girlfriend, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Parker?
Yes.
You interviewed Ms. Parker's home?
Yeah.
Okay. So that will obviously never examined to see what extra calls have been made for him.
Not from her phone, physically, no.
You said you saw the videos in this case?
Yes.
All of them?
Yes.
You never saw a video with Ms. Parker returning to the scene?
None that were collected, no.
And Nor I want to ask a question, but I'm not one more out of the closed ruling, and it's a question that would be prejudicial to them if I asked it. And you,
All right, why don't you come on up, off the record, let me know what it is.
Yeah. From December 2021, where you showed the video of what was initially him returning to the scene. You saw that here?
Correct.
Okay. And when he was watching the video, he said initially that was him, correct?
Yes, that's what, I mean, he indicated by the form of the question. You're talking about the interview on December 17th?
The interview on December 17th regarding the person returning at 11:09.
Correct.
Yeah, that was him, right?
That was, again, what he was indicating in the form of his questioning.
You heard Mr. Efron's testimony regarding that and the evolution of that belief. The first testified before the jury that was him. Mr. Rizzo asked him if he was sure that was him. You recall that, and then he subsequently changed to that's not.
This is taken to the word evolution.
Changed, which I hope is a synonym for evolution, changed into it wasn't. You saw that testimony?
Yes.
And you heard Mr. Efron say his girlfriend was there, but he then said maybe she was in the parking lot. You remember him saying that?
Correct.
Meaning that may be the reason why she's not on video?
Correct.
Okay. And then Mr. Rizzo asked him about the clothes being different, like he did with you just now. You remember what Mr. Parker initially, Mr. Efron initially said?
Director relevance and hearsay.
We just asked him directly.
I don't recall his exact
You remember him saying, I'm sure that was me, but I probably went and changed my clothes. You remember that song?
I'm sorry.
Okay. During your in-person interview with Mr. Efron on December 2021, you asked him why he continued to follow Mr. Mayor's video he had done, right?
Yes.
Because according to you, you told him that would seem to be an odd thing to do.
Yes.
Okay. And when you asked him that, why did he continue to follow Mr. Mayers after seeing a gun? Mr. Efron couldn't give you a clear answer. What he said was, I don't know why.
The first part of the question is argumentative. Excuse me. The first part of the question is argumentative, the second part is not. Repeat the question back.
When you asked him that, why did he continue to follow Mr. Mayers after seeing that? Mr. Efron couldn't give you a clear answer. What he said,
That part about Efron couldn't give it.
You get what I understand.
Ask the question again.
I'm going to ask it again. When you asked Mr. Efron why did he continue to follow Mr. Mayers after seeing a gun, what he said was he didn't know why.
Correct.
With respect to the video recorded in this case, which you've seen the image of Mr. Mayers holding an object, which according to you appears to be a gun, you agree, without having that object, you cannot help that it's not holding a gun, correct?
On the first incident?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
On the video where you see Mr. Mayers holding what appears to be a gun.
Correct. On the parking structure of the first video camera, yes. I mean, without anything else appearing on the video other than him holding by need to be handgun, I cannot determine whether or not that's an operational gun or correct.
And with regard to the video incident, after reviewing the footage captured from 16 Visa Del Mar, that law enforcement prepared a document entitled Video Download Information and Summary. Remember that?
Yes.
And in that document, law enforcement described what could observe in the footage. Which one? Here's it. This. You prepared a document describing what you could observe in the video footage, correct?
Correct. Notes that kind of detail what specifically can timestamp at certain points of different angles, angle for angles, and then obviously looking at everything collectively from all the angles together.
And for example, what you saw appeared to be a struggle on the street at 2217.
Correct.
Specifically, what that video shows is Mr. Efron apparently struggling with bills, case bills.
Yes.
And you also detailed approximate distances observed within the video, right?
Roughly.
And you listed various times of various events seen on the video.
Correct.
You described that as a subject, you described that a subject was in a dark colored jacket or sweater.
Correct.
in preparing the report, obviously you want to document anything that you observed on the video which was considered important with respect to the case.
Yeah, just give a rough timestamp of what the events took place and give it a holistic view at the end of which we look at all the pieces together and tell the story.
But in the report, you didn't want to leave anything important out.
Well, again, these are just notes to mark timestamps. So yes, what I thought was important relative to that frame.
And clearly, as part of the investigation, of course, if a gun or a shooting were observed on the video from 1616 East Del Mar, that's something you would have documented in your summary, correct?
Again, so it's collectively, I mean, that's part of A, where the incident began, where we observed a gun, B, where the struggle took place, and we can see various individuals running in different directions. And then as we move up, collectively, we see the next video with sound where we can hear the gunshots. I mean, it's collectively not just one piece.
Okay, so let me just make sure I understood my question.
Okay.
Again.
Sorry.
That's okay. Clearly, as part of the investigation, if a gun or a shooting were observed on the video from 1616 East Del Mar, that's something you would have documented in a summary. Yes?
Yes.
That's it. But that summary that you have, by the way, certainly does not document that a shooting was observed, right?
I mean, not from that angle. It's documented what can actually be observed from that angle, which is, I mean, the view is fuzzy. It gives you an overview of the motion that's going on. But again, pieced together with everything else is
But that document, that summary does not document that a shooting was observed, right?
correct. It does not.
In fact, that summary does not even document that a gun was observed in the video from 1616 East Del Mar.
Correct. That first thing is correct.
So you agree there's, in the video, from the video, there's no evidence in the video from 1616 East Del Mar that actual guns were being discharged, correct?
Nothing that I can observe in detail that I can see as a gun. Again, it's in frame with everything else, maybe.
Well, here's my question.
Correct.
These are, my questions.
All right.
Right? Almost done. You agree from the 1616 East Del Mar video, that's that video, the one that showed the whole struggle and all the other stuff, right? You agree that there is no evidence from that video of an actual gun being discharged, correct?
Correct. From that view by itself, no.
The sequence surveillance video that you put together overlaps video from the 1616 East Del Mar video with the audio from the 6200 Hollywood Boulevard video.
Correct.
All right. And that's the People's Exhibit 15, sorry, 15, okay. And you did that, right? You basically overlapped the video from 1616 East Del Mar that had no audio, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the audio from 6200 Hollywood.
Correct.
And you put it together. And you agree that the 1616 East Del Mar video, you just said this doesn't have any sound, but the video from 6200 Hollywood Boulevard does.
That's correct.
So you overlapped the videos from each location, trying to show when the shot would have occurred during the 1616 East Del Mar video.
Correct.
Okay. Of course, if the overlap is off, even by a fraction of a second, the shot would not have occurred during the precise moment shown on the overlap 1616 East Del Mar video, correct?
Correct.
And with regard to the 6200 Hollywood Boulevard video, you extracted 3 sets of videos from 3 different cameras maintained by the business at that location.
Correct.
And it's been stipulated, you heard that, we agreed on something. It's been agreed that the date and timestamp on 3 cameras from 6200 Hollywood Boulevard are approximately 2 to 3 minutes faster than actual time.
That's correct.
And the reason the cameras are approximately 2 to 3 minutes faster than actual time instead of the exact amount is because each camera is off from an actual time by a different amount.
Yes, I mean, it's not unusual when we collect video.
It's unusual. I'm saying the reason that you're using a range of 2 to 3 minutes as opposed to 2 minutes and 4 seconds is because each of those cameras is off from actual time by a different amount.
Yes.
For instance, on camera 1, you hear the first shot at 10, 15, 53 seconds. Hold on before we play it. We have to mark this. This is a defense exhibit.
Your Honor, I'm going to check to see this states the stipulation.
That's what.
He's saying the video from 6200 Hollywood was off by 2 to 3 minutes. He's talking about the business, the parking lot entrance, and
Why
the
don't you two confirm? If I don't need to get involved, I don't want to get involved.
So that's. Yeah.
Based on like what we just got here, you want us? Yeah.
After tomorrow, Thursday, and as close